Dave, welcome to the show, mate.
Thank you very much, sir. Very much.
Very much looking forward to this one. Let's roll all the way back. Where did you grow up and how did you get into the criminal underworld?
I never really grew up, to be perfectly honest. I grew up in South London, in Forest Hill. Yeah, South London, very close to Campbell Green, Peckham, that way. And I didn't actually develop into a naughty man. I think you're born naughty. I genuinely believe it's in your genes, yeah. And I'm really more someone that's I chose to giggle. I love a laugh more than the crime thing. I've never actually said on anything I am a gangster, especially not that celebrity gangster. I don't even know what that word means. Yeah, the two words don't go together. Celebrity gangster. That's like saying police intelligence. You know, the two words don't actually go together. Yeah. But I think all the way through my life, being I hate to say it, there's natural leaders and natural soldiers. Yeah. And I was born funny. Yeah, thank you God. Yeah. And that helped me be in charge all the time. So I was always hanging around with the bigger boys. Yeah, and you ended up having a little firm around you when you was 13, 14, 15, 16. And being naughty earned you more money than having a paper round. Yeah. Yeah.
And what was your route then in school? As you're coming out of school, sort of 16, 17, 18, were you thinking, right, I need to earn £1 note?
Yeah, of course it was. I was earning more money than when I left home at 16. I was earning more money than my dad was going to work, just hanging around with the naughty boys. You understand what I mean? I didn't think it was naughty. I'm still chasing the laugh, don't forget. I'm just the jester on the block, right? And so it started off the same as a million other people's stories, the car thieving, breaking into factories, creeping in the shops, the rent a clump, the hanging around the football hooligans, you know, at the time, embarrassing as this, Clockwork Orange had just come out. So he's all wearing the white coats and the bowler hat and one bit of eye makeup, you know what I mean, thinking we were the absolute nuts. But I looked like a tosser. Sorry. Where am I with foul language on this program?
You roll. Yeah, you roll,
cool,
mate.
Yeah.
Two mates having a chat.
Yeah. So I first started off as a job as a dustman, which, believe me or not, now I'm 60, I didn't realise it was most of the best job of my life, which is you can't actually beat a job where you're all meeting in the canteen in the morning, 700 of you, all having breakfast. It's funny, isn't it? That is fucking funny. Everyone's doing something and you knew everyone, you could get anything you wanted done. You know, you had the access to dust carts, and once the dust cart's been all sprayed out and cleaned out at the back of it and emptied, you can move puff all around London in the back of it, you know what I mean? It don't smell, it's like the inside of it's like a stainless steel removal van, you know what I mean? There's an awful lot of things you can do when you've got a million big hefty blokes around you that's selling the metal, you know.
And what was your route after there then? How long were you in the dustman?
Well, I was a dustman for a few years.
What are we talking here? What years are we talking? What decade?
Oh, you'll have to tell me. Yeah, you'll have to tell me that. I went to prison at 21.
What'd you go to prison for?
Causing an affray, attempted murder. I got 3.5 years for that. I took my younger brother out on a New Year's Eve. It's about 11:45. He's in a pub with me. He's a lot younger than me. I was 18 or something. I wanted something up the Chinese. I told him, would you mind running up there and getting me something? He went, yeah. So all my mates went, oh, get us this, get us that, get us this, get us that. So he's gone up there with a handful of money, ordered all this stuff. It's now about 5 to 12. They brought it out on plates. He said, no, I've got to take away. He said, we don't do take away on New Year's Eve. So he didn't pay for it. There's a great big fight. They started all jumped out and started laying into him. So by the time he comes back to the pub, it's about 11 to 12 or whatever it is. Walks in the door a bit bleeding. Me and all the boys have gone running up into the restaurant, and some geezer pulled out a big machete, like a kebab knife thing. And so I've just got my eyes on that. I'm running towards that. I'm getting all these little karate chops around me, but they're not hurting because I've got my eyes on the prize. Grabbed his hand, bit it. So now I'm holding the actual machete thing. He's standing on the counter, and then I said, now what are you going to do? I'm pointing the knife at him. He said, the God's honest truth, I'm standing on the floor pointing at him like that. and he just jumped on me like a suicidal kamikaze. I couldn't not get out of the way if I wanted to, you know. Boom. And then it all kicked off, all went into turbo. And then all my mates come running in. The people are trying to leave the restaurant. They don't know who it is that I'm fighting. So everyone turned into a great big mayhem. This man come out of this little chef come out of the kitchen with a frying pan full of oil. He's going, get out of my shop, get out of my shop. Like about 4 or 5 foot away from me. So because the knife I had was longer, I've gone bump, and he's tipped it up onto his own self. He's Rice Krispied himself, right? The oil's all over the floor. I'm ready to make a run for it, to be perfectly honest. And this bloke come out of the kitchen with no shirt on, the black Bruce Lee trousers and then black wicker basket shoes.
Yeah.
He's come out of a chopper, I suppose. It was about 3 foot, made out of the same bit of metal, the handle. And he's trying to kill me. You know, I was having a real sword fight at 18 years old, and he was genuinely trying to kill me. I've just crispy ducked his mate. He thinks I've stabbed the other guy to death. And I'm like, every time he's swinging at me, I'm going, tsh, tsh, tsh. And I was like, Jesus, I'm going to die. I'm actually going to get chopped up, you know. And as he's looking at me like that, coming towards me, he stepped into all the oil that the other bloke had dropped, because he's got the wicker basket shoes on. He's just gone, So I'm afraid
You stabbed him?
I stabbed him, yeah. And made a run for it, got back to the pub. Now it's about 30 seconds to 12 o'clock. I went, let's get out of here, let's get out of here. And of course, the old woman I was with at the time was all going, well, wait a minute, wait to see the new year on. Idiot.
Did you stake the new
Of course
year?
of course I did. And they got all the pictures of me coming out of the pub with the hat on and the blowy thing, all doing the Mayo, the acquaintance people, and all that. So by the time it gets to the Old Bailey, all that come out as evidence, and I got 3.5 years for that, and that's how I started my...
That was your start of your career?
That was the start, I'm afraid, of my career, and it didn't... Please believe me, that myth of you go to prison and learn loads of new crimes and you come out more intelligent because you're learning new crimes, that's not true. Because everyone you're banged up with got fucking caught.
Yeah.
So you're not in there with no geniuses.
Yeah.
You're in there with the sort of person, everyone that gets caught.
Yeah.
That's what you're in there with. If you remember and carry on learning all the things that got them caught, no one's going to tell you how to do it. No one's going to teach you how to do it, because none of them are fucking any good at it. They've all got caught. Right? So if you can remember how they all got caught, and when you come out of prison you still want to stay in the life of crime, then you're cleverer. Because all you've learnt is how not to get caught, how to get caught. You understand
what was your feeling like when you were in the dock there? They went, right,
that's the worst feeling in the world,
Courtney,
mate.
you've got 3.5 years.
That's the worst feeling in the world. The worst feeling is 30 seconds before that, when they're going, the jury has come to a decision. You know,
Yes,
that is
long
the
time,
longest wait.
Yeah.
You know, or go downstairs into the cell while the jury are making their mind up. That is a long wait. That's me. And they come up and they've been guilty 3.5 years. I don't know why. I didn't actually consider I was going to actually court. You know, we all got nicked. About 7 of us all got nicked that ran up there and done it. And we all got a bit of bird. I actually drove to court like a dickhead. My car's still parked there, I think.
So where were you? What was the first prison you went to?
I went to Wormwood Scrubs. That's like a railway station prison. You go there first until you get allocated to what prison you go to.
Yeah.
You go there as an allocation prison.
And how old were you?
21.
21. Did you feel young in there? Did you feel like a man in there, or did you think, you know what?
No,
I'm gonna hold my
I
own?
felt like a little boy.
Yeah, okay.
And to be honest.
Yeah.
I come out, man.
Yeah. How long did you do? 18 months?
Yeah,
Bit
20
more?
months.
20
Yeah,
months, yeah.
That's all.
And when you were in there, did you learn and get to meet a load of people?
Oh, well, it moulded me into making my mind up of where I was going to go with my life, yeah. You know, I understood that being naughty was natural to me. I found it easy. People were drawn to me. You know, I'd with the funny bit, yeah, I had a natural leader element.
Yeah.
You know, most of the people in my little firm can kick the living shit out of me. They're better shots, got more money and all that, but I'm in charge.
Yeah.
And you can bend an awful lot more with your tongue than you can with a Smith & Wesson, you understand? I mean, if you're clever.
Yeah.
And I took that position on board very seriously, being in charge. You know, you have to practice what you preach when you're in charge, especially as there's internet out and all that now, because everyone knows exactly what you're about, so you can't preach that and then be seen doing that. You know, you have to sacrifice an awful lot. I can't ever be stoned at me nut, buzzing on a bit of Charlie, because I never know who's going to knock on the door and go, Dave, I need some help. Yeah, and I can't be, we'll do it in the morning, man. Yeah. Or, go and put an hole in him then. Yeah. I could never be like that, can you? Yeah, you understand what I mean?
There's an art in delegation.
Did you
find that you had that art to a T?
Yeah, and I think you're born with that. I didn't learn that. Great. You're born with that. I can read men, I can work men. If you've got an army on you, each individual man has to be dealt with in a complete different individual way, like a football team. Yeah. A good manager knows that. You know, some need shouting at, some need coaxing, some need a little cuddle.
That's why Harry Redknapp's so good.
Yeah, he's a star. He's a star. Thank God he weren't a policeman. Yeah. You know what I mean? Thank God he
after you.
He would have got everyone. He would have got absolutely everyone, old Harry, mate. Luckily, he's the exact opposite, but thank God he weren't a cop of you.
We'll go and see him after.
I'd love to.
Yeah. So when you come out, what was your movement? Were you going, I'm going to go clean, or were you like, right, I'm at it?
No, I didn't actually realise at the time I was going to be a full-on criminal. Yeah. I then came out with 1 million flat-nosed, bald-headed geezers around me that were mine, and took on a security company. Okay. And I had the biggest security company, I think, in Great Britain at the time. Yeah, I'd done all the clubs in London, over 1,000 odd.
You had 1,000 men on the books? Yeah. What's this? This must be like mid-80s, is it?
Mid-80s, yeah. Over 1,000
and they weren't security as we know them now. They were bouncers back in the day.
They were bouncers, yeah. Please listen.
Different ball game, innit?
All respect to every doorman that puts the badge on today, right? But you cannot put yourself in the same bracket as doorman of then.
Agree.
Yeah, well, there was just 4 people working on the Hippodrome. Yeah. You know, 2,000 people. Yeah. Right? You had 2 doormen outside, 1 doorman inside with his 1,000 downstairs, and 1 doorman upstairs with his 1,000. And there was football violence out at the time.
That's right.
You know, there was 300
West Ham Chelsea fans come in.
300 Newcastle fans not going back that night. 300 Liverpool fans. 300. You know, and when you was in trouble, you didn't have a walkie-talkie to go, somebody exit number 4, need a little bit of assistance, please. You know, or pass the baton and all that. You went, help me, and run in and done your bit. Yeah, you can never get another Lenny McLean. You will, I'm afraid, you will never have another man like Lenny McLean.
He was a beast of a man.
Absolutely beautiful in what he done, which was nightclub doorway fighting. Right? In them days, if you was a doorman and lost a fight, the governor sacked you and got a better fighter. Right? In today's world, you can only get good at something that you do a lot. You can't not play football for 6 months and then go back and be the same, not play snooker. And fighting is the same. Right? And if you're not allowed now as a doorman to hit anyone back once, you're not allowed. As soon as you hit him back once, the governor's now got to give your name, address, blood group, photograph to the copper, you're sacked.
And you're never allowed to be.
Cool. And Lenny McLean had 4 or 5 fights a night, 5 nights a week for 20 fucking years. So by the time me and you bump into him half pissed on the way home, you're in trouble, mate. You understand what I mean?
Yeah. Was he? Do you reckon he was the toughest man you knew? No,
I'll tell you he was. There's different styles of fighting, like different styles of football, you know, the long ball game, right? And for nightclub doorway fighting, where there's just you, another 4,
in a tight space,
4 or 5 guys in a doorway, everything's game, the ashtray, the fire extinguisher, the chair, you know, and you're normally outnumbered 20 to 1 with a 56-seater of rugby players pulled up, the coaches drove off, and then you go, you can't come in without a partner. And they're going, well, the coach has gone, we're coming in. And there's only 6 here. Right? In that situation, you need a Lenny McLean.
You need a lump,
The nearest thing to that, no disrespect to it. Well, you know, he was a criminal. Lenny McLean wasn't a criminal. Yeah. He's a fighter.
Yeah, okay.
Roy Shaw was a criminal. Roy Shaw was an armed robber that could have a row.
Yeah.
Right? Lenny McLean was a fighter. That's it. He wasn't a criminal. You know, he didn't go robbing banks.
Who was number 2 to Lenny McLean?
I'd have to say Roy Shaw.
Roy Shaw, okay.
Right? And I hate to say this because they're dead, but he was number 2 to him. In a nightclub doorway, I have never seen anything like Lenny McLean. Yeah. I've never seen anything go work like that. Actually, genuinely looked to me like he enjoyed a good smack in the mouth.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen him actually, someone get the drop on him or walk past him and he's let him in and turn around and go on the chin.
Yeah.
Boom, he went, lovely. And just
come along.
And his hands were that big and he's 6 foot so and he was a tasty bastard when he was just 16 and a half stone. He was a fantastic fighter at 16 and a half stone. Yeah. Then he got on the juice.
20 stone.
And was 22 stone.
That's right, yeah.
So he was that good at 16. What the fuck is it, you know? And I had no disrespect to bodybuilders. Half of my friends are bodybuilders, but the fact you were that big does not necessarily mean you can have a row.
Yeah, he had both.
Yeah. He was that good when he weren't that big. Now he's that good and that big.
Yeah.
You know, I'm afraid an awful lot of people that can't have a row do the bodybuilding thing to make it look like they can.
Yeah.
Shave the head, get the black Range Rover, do the full, the full thing. You know what I mean? I've done it myself, right? But he was, you're never going to get another one of him. Yeah.
And back in the mid-'80s, obviously football violence was massive. Yeah. Absolutely massive. It's funny to say that. Everyone's piling the nightclub, bottles in hand, Budweiser bottles, everyone having tear-ups and just wanting to go out for a fight.
Yeah.
And then the rave scene come in.
Yeah, well, of course, that is...
How was that for you, from going from having 1,000 men, everyone wanting tear-ups, and all of a sudden the ecstasy started coming in? What was that like for you?
Well, it was good for a couple of years, the first couple of years, because people were more into the enjoying it than realising how much money you could get through selling these.
Yeah.
Right, and I don't know if you want to go and check it out. What actually happened, why the rave scene took over so instantaneously, is the year it started and really happening, they changed every football stadium to all seated.
Seated, yeah.
And that, unless you've been involved in going to a football match and standing at one end of the football field with another 20,000 people all with the same colour scarf on going, ew, right, it's sexual.
Yeah.
It's 6.5 days of the week, you're a greengrocer, but Saturday afternoon, you're and all of a sudden someone's now, you got to do it all sitting down in rows. It's not the same.
Yeah.
But someone went, oi, if you go out Saturday night, instead of Saturday afternoon, all the other that went there can stand over there in that corner and still go, ew, right? And take an E. And if you're shy about, I can't have a dance, don't worry about that, because we've invented a don't be shy pill. Right? You take that and you're not shy. In fact, you think you're fucking Fred Astaire.
You think you're the best dancer
in the world. Get a listen, I'm on the top of the speaker and me shirt off. Get a load of this. You know what I mean? So that is really what happened, and it was just so beautiful to watch. You didn't have all that, and it was just and they needed more doormen.
Yeah.
And they needed more doormen for all these people kissing and loving up each other. But then going to workers and just actually carrying a knuckle duster or whatever tool it is you had to carry to go to work. And there's a lot of people that go to work and have to carry a tool, whether it be police officer, prison officer, policeman, doorman,
Army, someone.
Whatever. I'm afraid to say, I'm sorry about that. Then it turned into these people that were selling the pills were earning thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds per week.
Yeah.
It was very a financial gain to be running the doors of a club because you run all the money that came in there. So then it started other doormen had to be carrying a thing, like
carrying a shooter.
Because your doormen were earning £100 a night. Yeah. Now the pills are out there; they're going home with £2,000 a night, sometimes £1,500 a night, £1,000 each a night, because you're letting all the people in to the club to buy the pills off the four dealers that you put in, and you are very publicly throwing out all the dealers that ain't yours, and looking great to the actual police. You're throwing them all out and all that, confiscating all the stuff and everything, but it's making you an awful lot of money. So then it became worthwhile to go and have a little takeover bid on doors. You know, I mean, doorman fighting for the position to be running the thing, and it weren't all done on the nightclub doorway. It was done in the afternoons round their house. You know, popping in, kicking their door down, and running in while they're sitting having breakfast with the kids and a bowl of Rice Krispies again, right, like that. Right, you ain't doing the door no more.
Yeah.
Or next time I'm going to come in here is when you're going to work and you're a woman gets it. If you don't believe me, right, watch.
Yeah.
Do you want to go work tonight and throw margaritas out?
Yeah.
You know, it got naughty. It got a different level of violence coming, and I'm afraid cocaine at the time was just a rich person's drug. Not a lot of people were doing the cocaine
That's
thing.
right. It was called the yuppies drug back then, wasn't it?
All everyone done was had a puff.
Yeah.
If you got caught with a packet of large Rizzlers in your pocket, that was drug addict. You might as well be injecting heroin in the eye. You know, large Rizzlers, really. You know, but the cocaine is a different.
So let's go back to the rave scene. So when the rave scene come, I'm looking at sort of mid-80s, late 80s, and that's when the 20 quid a pop was going in. And then when the outdoor raves, what was that like for you? Were you doing the doors for the outdoor raves?
Yeah, of course I was. Yeah, it was unbelievable. Yeah. You know, 5,000 and 10,000 people.
Carlton Leach was doing all the doors back then as well.
Yeah. Carlton was a good friend of mine. We was working together. I've used his men, he's used mine. We've done work, Centre Force and all of that.
That's right.
Beautiful.
We've had Andy on the podcast.
Yeah, he's a top man.
He's a top man.
A good friend of mine.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid I'm a big fan of his radio station, Centre Force. Am I allowed to give that a plug?
Of course, give it a plug.
I've just come back from the Ukraine where we Centre Forced it all the way there and all the way home. And by the time I come home, I was fucked. Yeah. My body was hurting when I was dancing away in the van. Right? I thought I'd had 5 rounds of Marvin Hagler. But,
so your main thing was having 1,000 men, putting 1,000 men in different clubs, and you taking your cut of what they're getting paid.
But what actually happened here is this: they're only doormen in the night time. In the daytime, they're unemployed. So I was a job centre for 1,000 big tasty bastards. Now, if you wanted your next door neighbour shut up, your squatters thrown out, your car repossessed, your daughter's boyfriend give a clump, rent a clump. You wanted anything like that, you wanted anything like that done. The doorman's the one to ask.
Because they don't do anything in the week. Right.
So I became a job centre for naughty men. Hence the firm, Courtney's firm. And and I'm in charge of it. And I had Indians, Pakistanis, Protestants, Catholics, blacks, white, Polish, Russian. I had the whole lot on my little thing. There was no prejudiced against anyone. You was on my little firm, you're on my little firm. You know what I mean? Old, young, northern, whatever. So I had them up and down the country, and this is all before.
So your weapon of choice was the mobile phone?
Absolutely.
Rather than a shooter and anything else?
You hit it on the head. If I say anything cockier than this, I doubt it. But if there was any problem I have or had in my life, right, if you let me get my mobile phone, I promise you, right, I'll fuck you. I promise you. Wherever it is, whoever it is, whatever. If you let me get to that, right, the days of the best fighter is the one in charge. That's a bit Conan the Barbarian.
That's right,
It's what you know and who you know and where you can get it and how quick it's all on the phone. Right? And that's
So if you were in Newcastle on a Sunday, 9 a.m., do you reckon within 5 minutes?
Safe as houses. Definitely I could have 1 or 2 in 5
and
minutes.
You went to Belfast on
exactly the same.
Tuesday, 3 p.m.
Exactly the same. I'd be very good in Belfast. And actually I'll be very good in Newcastle. I'm very little strong over there. You get your favourite bits. London, but mainly. But as soon as and that's all before internet, Facebook and all of this computerised world, what we're doing now, you know, and that's before all of that. Christ knows what would have happened to it. I should have been dead if it ever all I was doing now was out.
Have you ever been in a position where you've gone, I'm about to lose my life?
Of course. On a few occasions.
How many times?
On a few occasions, I'm afraid I've been there when people have lost their life, and it was only that far away from shooting me. You know, had I been one step that way, it would have been me.
Where were you? What year?
I was in Amsterdam, and it was 20 odd years ago. I've had 3 or 4 shots at me. I've got 1 shot in my leg where it blew an hole through my leg. In Peckham, I've sat and cradled 3 people that died with stab wounds and a million others that got better. I've been in the position where my life was in danger. Yeah, like genuinely in danger. And I'm afraid. No, I'm not afraid. As cocky as this may sound, if it's the first time it happens to you, someone jump out on you and put a gun on you, it's terrifying. But the next time, it ain't as scary. And the next time, it ain't as scary. And I'm a cocky little mouthy, what's your name? And the more scared I get, the more funnier and what's your name I'll get, because being funny and whatever, it hides everything.
Yeah.
It hides everything. I've always got something to say. I'll rabbit myself into and out of a load of trouble. And
do you think by chatting, having your chat, you can diffuse the moment as well?
100%.
Yeah.
Listen, the geezer jumped out at me once at the Hippodrome where I'd thrown him out or helped to throw him out through the side exit. He'd actually run out to the car, done a pipe, and then come running round to the front with an handgun and go, screaming and shouting. And they've just gone, Courtney down to the man. Didn't tell me what it was. Didn't tell me what it was. Bless their little hearts. Yeah. And I've gone running into the foyer, and he's there standing there like that. And you can tell by someone's eyes whether you're in trouble or not.
Yeah, okay.
Forget the size.
Yeah.
And you went, where's all your mates now? Now what are you going to do? Now what are you going to do? And he was just about to pull the trigger, and I'm thinking, I can't even hide anywhere.
Yeah.
I can't hide. I'm too close. And so I quickly just turned me back. I went, you're famous for shooting me in the back. Shoot me in the back, and I'm walking like John Cleese, big steps, that way. I get famous to shoot me in the back, and you've only got to drop a little seed in there, and he's going, turn round. I went, no, shoot me in the back, and I'm walking double fast, you know. Got around the corner, needed a new pair of wire fronts that night, you know what I mean? Yeah.
So being in that world, that was just you. You're a character, but I can also see in your eye that you can flip if you need to change direction straight away.
Yeah, I think you're born with it. You can't learn that. You can't say, the classrooms are too packed, there was no green areas for me to play on. I was watching video games or the rapping thing, made you be like that.
Yeah.
I can see why you can be coaxed into trying to be in that world if you're not, but you're born that way, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
And the older you get, the better you are at controlling it.
Yeah.
But at 20 and up to 20, 28 and that, you can't. You can flip and be as naughty as you have to be. And if you are in charge of an awful lot of other people and your behaviour, reflects on everyone else, and what I did, you know, the knock-on effect would affect all them people. When you have to start dishing out violence, you have to be very clever with it. You know what I mean? It's very easy to go bum, but you have to pay the dividends later. If all of a sudden my son came home with all his front teeth in a bag, whether it was his fault or not, whatever doorman done that, he's in serious fucking egg, whether it was his fault or not. Whoever you go bang to has got a dad, a brother, his sister goes out with, you know, so you've got to be very careful today who you decide to start throwing the right hander at. You understand me? And I've got known really for, well, if Dave Courtney did it, that geezer had to earn it, because I will bend over backwards double for you before I have to go to that. But if I go to that, I'll do that. And I can sleep at night with it. I've got no regrets on it, because it's your fault. I was more than enough with you.
So you were proper game in your 20s and 30s and 40s.
Yeah.
And probably 50s.
That was most probably my
your peak
era
of being
from
game.
30 to 45 was most probably the top of my game, yeah. I was earning good, fantastic money. That gives you
What
a little
sort of wedge do you reckon you're earning a week at your peak?
Don't sound an awful lot now, you know what I mean? 10 grand. It don't sound an awful lot.
It's a lot back then in the early 90s and 90s.
Yeah. I was doing 10 grand a week, and then there was little coups that you're on where you're earning 50 and 100 grand every now and then. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm just a normal bloke. I ain't silver spoon fella. You understand what I mean? I haven't done no Brinks Mat, no great train robbery. I won't.
What were you doing for your pound note to earn such big money back then?
I was a bit of a naughty boy around that, on the pavement. Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah, I've done a few post offices, a few petting offices, and all that. You know.
Robbing banks, robbing post offices.
Yeah. Not so many banks, but post offices and betting offices are a lot easier. You know what I mean? A betting office at 3:30 in the afternoon on Grand National Day, you can get more out of that than you can with a bank. I mean,
how would you go in go in there? You just go, right, I'm teeing this up. Or did you fancy it in the morning, or did you gear it
No,
up?
no, no. Normally, I'm cleverer than that. I'm a lot cleverer than that. I'll actually have someone inside waiting for me, knowing I'd be in at that time. They'd have it all wrapped up waiting for me. I'd walk in like that. I mean, I'll tell you a funny story. I've gone in to do it one day, not realising how many fucking people were in the betting office. Yeah. Not realising at all. So as I've kicked the door down, right, pulled up outside, as I've kicked the door down, it's hit someone and shut in my face. I'm standing in the middle of the road with the thing and the valley on, like, wow. So I've had to open the door again, and they're all got their back to me, looking at the telly going, so I'm going, everyone, no one can hear a fucking word I'm saying. They're not even looking at me. I'm standing at the back of the queue, so I've let one in the roof. It weren't my tool, so I've let one in the roof, and what they don't know is where it's gone ba-boom, I've let both off, so it's fucking empty. It's empty, and I've gone like that, it's made a big hole in the floor, and everyone's like screaming, all moved back, but even moving back, it's only left me a gap of about 4 foot. Anyone reaching out and grabbing me could have, and there's the bird at the end going, yeah, it's in the bag, wait, I'm waiting for you. And I'm going, oh, everyone's move back. There's one bloke up at the front still going, looking at the first tellies on the counter. I'm going, shut it, mate, get back. But it's empty, and I'm now in the middle of the shop walking through. I'm thinking, if anyone grabs me, I'm fucked. And I'm thinking, why not do it and all that shit? The geezer's still at the front going, come on. So I've got to the car, grabbed her, and I'm with it. I banged him around the ear hole with it, going, oh, shut up, you bum. He went, man, and this man, my name. Yeah, he's deaf and dumb. Oh, no. He was just shouting at the telly. He's deaf and dumb. Right. Oh, no. So I've walked back out, got in the car and shut off. But I've done some of that. I'm afraid my biggest crime around the narcotic world is introducing people to people when things happened, yeah? I was in the special unit for that, for a £5 million importation of cocaine allegation, which I was found not guilty for, but I was in the special unit at Belmarsh for a year, which is like...
So you say they put you in the special unit, they put you away for a year, did they?
Yeah. Well, listen, I've done 5.5 years in my life in prison for things that I eventually was found not guilty for. Right, I got a year for that on remand, got not guilty. I got 9 months for that and got not guilty. I had 8 months on remand for that, got not guilty. I had 3 or 4 6 months and got not guilty.
So you've had like 5 or 6 not guilties?
5 or 6. I've had 20 odd not guilties, which is like you can't get another Lenny McLean. You can't get another Dave Courtney in court, and I'll tell you why.
How do you get away with that?
I'll tell you exactly. The invention of the computer fucked it for people like me. Because right now, the first rule book in a courtroom is if there is an element of doubt that he may be not guilty, you have to go not guilty. Right? We can be guilty of letting a guilty man go, but we can't be guilty of putting an innocent man in. Yeah. Right? And all you need for an element of doubt is 5 or 6 friends. Every time I went and done a little bit of work, I brought 4 or 5 witnesses with me. Yeah. You and your wife, as witnesses for me. So by the time I've done my bit and left, the police turn up and say, right, no one wants to be a witness. The only ones left are my 4. Yeah. Right? And you're saying a big, tall, ginger, black bloke left on horseback that way, Millwall tattooed on his forehead. Yeah? And if they do catch me, the 4 witnesses go, no, that weren't him. Yeah. Right? But the better thing is, I'd have 10 people will go to court and swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God, and go, he was with me that night, or, and that would have to be an element of doubt, or I'd have 20 people say that, and so 2 of them are special policemen hold it. Yeah. But now, if you get caught and you pull up some witnesses, the judge just goes, right, well, on your Facebook, every single person you've picked up as a witness is your mate. They couldn't do that then. Yeah. There was no knowledge that you knew that bloke from Liverpool, that geezer from Margate, that geezer from... Yeah, there was no knowledge of that. But now there's a Facebook. Yeah. And everyone's got all their mates on it. Everyone that would actually go to court for you, he's on your Facebook. Yeah, as your mate. There's photographs of you like that with all the other people that would normally go to court and defend you.
So this is all pre-2008? 2008 was the Facebook
of course, it was all pre.
And even before you go back again, when you're doing robberies and stuff, there's no CCTV, right?
There's nothing. Listen, you could walk into a bank and there's a few old ladies there this is in the late 90s, there's a few old ladies sitting there with about 6 inches of glass, and in her tray she had 80 grand, in her tray she had 120 grand, in her tray there was 60 grand. You know, when I first started, there weren't even Barclay cards and checkbooks and all that. It was all money. Yeah. Big sign on the back wall saying no have-a-go heroes. Right, you took the money and run off, and the only chance you had is getting caught is if there was a copper outside the door when you run out. Yeah. And if he was standing there, he'd chase you down the road with a fucking whistle. That's all that happened. That's all that happened. Wow. Right? Or he made a phone call and there was a Wolseley hot on your arse 20 minutes later, you know, like, wow. Or a little 1100, you know what I mean? Like that is, and who wouldn't do that as a living? And like anything, like robbing a bank, shooting someone, anal, it's easier the next time. The next time, it's you didn't even have to save up because it was so easy to go out and do it again when you run out of money. Then you don't have to go work because you're earning that much money. So you, in police's eyes, you're a professional criminal. Yeah. But you don't want to go work. So you can go out every night if you want.
And what was your lifestyle like back then?
Well, I had a Rolls Royce. My wife had a Rolls Royce. You know, my children went to work. I had a couple of Harley Davidsons. I had 3 or 4 months a year in Tenerife. Yeah. You know, I was blessed.
Yeah. And just go back there. Tell me about your wife, Jenny. When did you meet Jenny?
I met Jenny. I was running a place called the Fitness Centre in London, and I employed her. She's got an identical twin sister. Yeah. To be dancers, I'd never met her. Someone that was running all the things for me.
What year, roughly, Dave?
This is when all the nightclubs shut at 2 and 3 o'clock in London. So you tell me what year it was.
93,
maybe before
92.
That, late 80s or whatever, something like that. Yeah. And so all the doormen used to be finished at. This club opened at 12 at night, but in London all the nightclubs are finishing at 3 and 4, 2 and 3
in
o'clock.
the West End,
yeah. So by the time I got there, it was already going 2 or 3 hours. I bought railway arches and all that, and was doing all that. I went to America.
Did you buy the arches? Did you?
I bought the arches.
Did
you?
Yeah.
In John Ruskin Street, in just off Walworth Road. I went to.
Just explain to the listeners what the arches was like.
Oh wow! Stop it! I'm getting on.
Go on.
Yeah, it was railway arches. Yeah. The acoustics in a railway arch is fantastic. Yeah. The way it's built in that is fantastic. There was there was big cars up on the wall with the DJ in it and playing it, and it was where everyone was acid house. And they couldn't stop cuddling each other. And I was employing Fabio and Groove Rider and Danny Ramplin and Paul Oakensfold for 35 quid a night. You understand what I mean? It was absolutely mental.
Yeah, quality.
Right? And all they wanted to do is go in there and, you know, we've had things like, I'm afraid, people die in a nightclub, right? And it had backdrops then. So what you do is just leave him against the wall, put the backdrop over him, have a doorman stand beside him till everyone finished dancing and going home. Because if they stopped the club and went to someone here dead, right, the chances of you ever...
license,
well, you never had a licence, you know what I mean? Yeah. You just waited for everyone to go home and then just bring him out and put him outside someone else's pub. You know what I mean? You just, you couldn't ruin the night, would you? Yeah. And it was, I went out to New York with Richard Branson at the time, and he came back and opened Heaven, and I opened the Arches. And the reason being weren't the E's. It was the first time I had ever seen people buying bottles of water.
Yeah. 5 quid a
pop. It was the first time I'd ever seen. Because I come from an era where everyone was drinking light and bitters. You know, if you walked up to the counter and went, 3 bottles of water, 2 lemon juices, a Ribena and an orange juice, you'd get punched in the fucking head just for actually saying it. You know what I mean? Like, and then can I have ice with that? You know, like, and I'd never seen 4 deep at the bar people buying water, tipping one bottle over their head and drinking the other bottle. And I couldn't get... my head round it, you know what I mean? I couldn't...
Sweat dripping from the ceilings, wasn't it?
Of course, yeah. It was literally dripping from the ceilings. And I didn't know, listen, I actually sprayed my ceilings black, and then with a paintball gun, which had silver paint, I'd done stars on it, which I thought looked really good in the day. It looked fantastic when I done it, until you get 600-700 people in there all night sweating. Yeah. and then it was all black sweat coming, dropping onto you. You know what I mean? We didn't have no way of putting toilets, and in the railway arch, you're not allowed to put a nail in the wall down there. You're not by law. But we got a digger in, or that gentleman over there got a digger, and that's my Brendan, by the way, sitting in the studio. That's half of me, him. Yeah. He's been with me 30 years, lived with me. Yeah, he's outlasted 3 wives. It's fucking nuisance.
Big up Brendan.
Yeah, big up Brendan. But he got a digger in, and we just dug the biggest hole in the middle of the nightclub you ever see. Broke into a main sewer and put a little tube down to it, and then put the toilets in. But every time it rained, all the sewer came up and bounced. If you couldn't dance, you stood on the manhole, and that just all bobbled it. The vibrations made you look like the best mover in the world. But it ended up with shit coming out of the fucking thing all over the floor, but no one knew it was so black. And it was black raindrops falling on you from the roof. You understand what I mean? The paint was all dripping off the roof. Where was I? What was I talking
ministry.
about?
Let's talk ministry. Let's talk gas club. We used to go. I used
Yeah,
to go
the
to gas club. I used to go to the yacht. I used to go to ministry. Back in the day, were you running those?
The doors.
Yeah. What was the best club for you in London at the time?
I think the gas at the time was
quality,
was
wasn't
stunning.
it?
Or the Arches.
Yeah.
The Arches just off of Tower Bridge. Yeah, the Arches was absolutely out of this world Sunday afternoon. And then it went from nightclubs were shutting at nightclubs were shutting at 3 o'clock normally. Yeah. But a man called Timmy Ramjam, who I went, funny enough, last night to go and see UV40 with, which was absolutely nuts, by the way.
Yeah. Where was that?
In Chingford.
Okay.
Big open air thing, absolutely superb. Yeah, absolutely superb. I was sweating away. I thought I was about 18. I was on it. And everyone knew all the words. You could have been a shit scene. We wouldn't have mattered because everyone was on there going, red, red. I thought I could sing when I was younger. I weren't a little bad. But now you sound like a footballer as you sing that. Red, red, white. You know what I mean? A couple of thousand of you all doing that. You actually go, whoa. You know, it's mental. But the Ministry of Sound, what a fantastic place that was. Yeah. You know, when they put no tables and chairs in there so you couldn't sit down, kept you standing in a queue. Yeah. So you had to bring a coat and then charge you £2.50 to hang your coat up. So you got 2,000 extra £2.50s every day. You know, and they sold you an ice pole for £1. Yeah. Because, you know, and they bought them 4 for a penny. Yeah. You know, unfrozen. You know what we did when I bought Arches, I bought a quart. You buy them in 1/4 of a ton of empty Evian bottles, right? And I just filled them up with water. I'm sorry, but you're just filling it up with water and putting the top bottle, sticking it in the fridge. And when they're coming up and buying all this water off you, right? You took the top off for them. So, because you didn't want all the bottle tops on the dance floor, because that was the thing, the dancing, wasn't it? Right? Yeah. So you took the tops off and pour them. So every bottle of water I was filling up was like doing an armed robbery. I was going, £5 for me. £5 for £5 for me.
5 for a man, 5 for a man.
Bottles of it, and they're buying it and tipping it over their head anyway. And I'm thinking, it comes out the fucking tap. It comes out the tap.
Isn't it funny when you go to the toilet, though, there wouldn't be cold water. They'd just leave hot water so you couldn't go and refill.
Yeah, or trying to find a bit of toilet paper, especially in the Arches. An ashtray, that was really funny to find.
Yeah.
You didn't ever see any of them.
What was the movement then from the ecstasy to the cocaine then? What was the movement in London
brought
then?
darkness, I'm afraid, to the rave scene. Yeah. The love and the cuddling. And I think they openly called it the love drug. That's what it's called on the news, you know what I mean? They say you take one of these pills, you either die or end up shagging everyone in the room. That was the advert that the E had at the time. I mean, that was a love drug, which it was. But then, like anything else in the world, the more use it gets, the cheaper it becomes. And cocaine become affordable to people. And it became the main narcotic financial earner in the country. And I'm afraid there is honour among thieves and naughty men. Yeah. But there's no honour among drug dealers. Yeah. Yeah, you know, the amount of money you make doing that, and half of the people I know do that as a living. I'm not knocking them in the slightest. I can understand why they're involved in that world because of the financial rewards. Yeah. But me personally, it's not about me anymore because you're not dealing with honourable people. If just grassing somebody up for what he's doing stops you having to pay him £1 million that you owe him, a lot of things go out the window. Yeah. And a lot of morals and that go out the window with that. And
Do you reckon cocaine dealers started out to go, right, I'm buying keys, or do they start from having a little job?
I'll tell you exactly what it is. I'll tell you exactly what it is. I've watched it a million zillion times. They start off being a postman, taking home £350 a week, and they like a bit of Charlie. Yeah. Well, cocaine is the only drug in the world, the most expensive one, that you choose before you buy it to buy the most expensive drug in the world and give half of it away. Right? You actually buy a gram, and before you have it, you actually look for someone to go in the toilet with and go, here, oi, online. So if you want a gram of Charlie, it actually costs you £100 then. Yeah. It's mostly £100 a gram now, decently, but it costs you £100 because you give half a gram away. You have a line, oh, do you want a line? Do you want a... You don't do that with any other drug. Yeah. You don't go into a pub and go, it's a pint of lager. Do you want a that? Or go shopping and go 50 quid. Do you want to take it home here? Or, you know, with a trip on it. But they see the most expensive drug in the world and you look for someone to give it away to. Yeah. And that is... Now, where was I going?
So, no, I want to know that sort of journey. You're a postman. You're
so what happens is you go to a club, you're spending your 50 quid on a...
Night out.
On a gram of Charlie, and then you realise that if I bought an eighth or something like that, I could have 3 or 4 grams of Charlie out of it, sell them 3 and get this one for nothing, because I'm having to buy 2 here. Yeah. I'm having to buy 2. I'm giving half of it away. I don't know why. Everyone else is, but I'm having to buy 2 grams of Charlie. So once you've then, just once in your life gone, I've got some Charlie here for sale, do you want a gram? Right? People get to know. So the very next week, everyone that you sold it to is coming up going, you got any Charlie? Yeah. Or anyone you sold it to are being asked, they go and talk to him. And you realise that I could have sold 10 or 15 tonight. Yeah. So you'll get 10 or 15, you're still being a postman. Yeah. Right? And once you've started selling it to loads of people, you have 1 million people every night you want to go out asking you for a gram. So you could sell fucking 30 grams if you wanted to. Just standing under the stairs selling this has made you the most popular bloke in the club, right? You're getting birds want to fuck you. You're getting invited to every single party. I'm earning 4 times my weekly wages on Saturday night. I don't want to go and work no more. And I can actually go to more clubs in a week then and earn vultures. You don't even realise you're turning into a professional criminal by leaving your day job. Right? You just drifted into that. Right? You haven't actually realised that when the old bill do check your phone and you've got scales in your house and the bags and a list and the messages on your phone, you don't actually realise that until you actually get pulled. Yeah. And when you get pulled, you're fucked. You're looking at 8 fucking year.
Is it 8? Is it?
Well, don't know what you get.
Roughly,
whatever it is, you've got 2 or 3 ounces in you. Yeah. And what they will do is go, right, well, you either tell me everything you know about where you get it from, who you sell it to, and I'll let you go. Right? Yeah. Or you're getting 8 year as from tonight, mate. Yeah. Hence, everyone will turn into a glass. Yeah. They'll all pretend that never happened to me. I've done the 8 year. Yeah. Right? They turn. Yeah.
And that's when it gets naughty.
And that's when it gets naughty, and it happens now. They know that, the police know that. They'll actually nick you at your house in front of your missus and go, right, you're getting 8 years now. You lose your job, your pension, the mortgage for this house, you mean, or do you want to tell me where you get it from? Yeah. Or just give me one a week. Give me one person a week, or we'll put you in 8 years. The wife will go, do it. Yeah. Right? And then the whole world that you're involved in is infested with informants. Yeah. So the only way you can avoid that is don't do it. Yeah. Me. Yeah. I don't do that. Yeah. And haven't done for 20 odd years because I won't get involved in anything anyone can lolly me up for because I know they're out there. I've been accused of it myself. Yeah, I got arrested for working with a bent copper. Anyone that was a criminal in my day, you had a bent copper. Yeah. Yeah, and I'm afraid that's true. And when he got caught, he went, no, I'm not giving Dave any information.
So what did he get caught for?
He got caught for setting up some bird with cocaine. Right. So that an husband would win a custody battle. Right. Right? And when they went, and they caught him putting the cocaine in and all that, and they went, and then he went round and radioed it, found the cocaine, and then while all that was going on, the husband won the custody battle. That was the plan. But they was waiting for him to do it, filmed him putting the drugs in and all that. And so they said to him, why did you raid that house? He went, my informant told me. So I said, well, who's your informant? So he didn't have one, did he? Because he was doing it as a job. Yeah. So he's come round to me and went, do you mind if I don't know this is all real. He just went, I've got caught talking to someone. I've just got caught talking to you.
So Ben Copper, who you were bunging, got caught up in this.
Listen, he got the bulletproof vest for Roy Shaw. He's got Joe Pyle out of trouble. He's got Freddie Foreman out of trouble. They all know him. He's a friend of mine. But I got a tape recorder in him and filmed it and made a thing of him going, it's absolutely nothing to do with Dave Courtney. I just need an excuse to go why he's his company. That's what he told me.
Okay.
That's what he told me, but he was already under observation.
So you got caught up in this, or something's nothing to do with you?
Nothing, fuck all to do with me. Nothing. And when he got caught, he went, look, there's all pictures of you with Dave Courtney or Ben Copper. And he went, no, he's working for me. Right, so for 8 months before we went to the Old Bailey, the press jumped on that.
What year are we talking here, Dave?
I don't know, 2000? 99. They jumped on that because at the time I was running for Lord Mayor. I was, Mr. Popular.
Lord Mayor of London?
Yeah.
Were you going for
Yeah, I was running for Lord Mayor of London.
Dave, hold me on that Lord Mayor of London. I'll go back to that.
But what they did is for 8 months he was going, not guilty, I'm paying Dave. But I had video proof and I'd taped him, I'd bugged myself and taped him with everything he said.
Yeah.
The police had that. When they arrested me, I went, no, I'm not working for him. Look, he's working for me. Yeah, I can't get arrested.
So you gave him the tape to have a look at?
But for 8 months, he went not guilty. And on the day the court started, he went guilty. So he never had to go to court. But they had 8 months to go, Courtney might be a grass. And that knocked my popularity on the head. There was no more filming for Dave, no more magazine work, no more running for Lord Mayor.
Because of him?
Yeah, because of him.
Is he still
and
about?
There's still people that run him. I don't know where he is. It's 20 odd years ago, isn't he? But I hope not. I hope he died a terrible death. But it still hurts me, but there's nothing I can do about it. When they say, I've heard that Courtney's a grass, I've heard them a grass, it hurts me not, but who?
That must be the most painful thing,
Of course
right?
it is.
Yeah.
The word of mouth, my answer to it is one word. Who?
Yeah.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
But who? Or what? I say Dave Courtney's a grass, really? Who did he grass up? Well, I don't know, I just heard he was. Well, what did he grass up?
Because I
don't know, I just heard he was.
Is that because for 8 months that he didn't speak up?
He didn't speak up, and the police knew that. It was the better of two evils. He was going to get guilty anyway. It's my onlyest day. I was at the Old Bailey and got found not guilty, and the copper got 5.5 years. That was a very sexy day for me.
Wow.
But
is that when you turned up in court with the jester's outfit?
With the court jester outfit.
Court jester.
And banged him, knocked him out.
And you knocked him out in court?
Yeah, right. What he was saying about me, had it been believed, I would have been shot. I would have actually been shot had it been believed. I didn't know whether I was going to make the actual court date, because what he was saying about me is a killable offence if it be true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who were you telling then in the underworld? Hold on a minute, I don't know where this is coming from. Did you see people like going,
on the day I was arrested and done my tapes, all of the tapes that I done, that I said behind the door, I gave one to Freddie Foreman, Charlie Richardson, Frankie Fraser, Tony Lambriano, Roy Shaw. They all knew exactly what I'd done, right? And if Charlie Bronson, Ronnie and Reggie Kray, Lenny McLean, Roy Shaw, Joey Pyle, Charlie Richardson all know I'm all right. I don't give a monkey's what some geezer in the pub down in the East End wants to go, Courtney's you got. I don't care.
Whatever,
I really, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? If Arsenal won the FA Cup 50 years on the trot, every Tottenham support would still go, whens. Yeah, so there's nothing I can do about that. But what it did do long term is hurt me on the popularity front.
Yeah.
I thought I was going places in the old film game and
So this is the early 2000s.
This is the early 2000s.
Did you write? Was that when your book was coming?
The book come out while I was actually nicked for that. I thought, thank you, but it still became a #1 bestseller.
Yeah.
And
what was that called?
Stop the Ride, I Want to Get Off.
Yeah.
Best book I ever done, because after doing the Kray twins' funeral.
Yeah, back in 95. Ronnie Krays. You organised it in 1995, is that right?
I can't remember the year, 1995.
How did you get asked to do that?
Because I was friends with him at the time. I was a good mate of his. I was running all the doormen and they wanted to know who this Dave Courtney fella was. And I was, my lady was a set of twins. I'm going to stop now, hold it. How I met Jennifer. Let me get back to that.
Yeah.
I employed this little woman right, in the fitness centre.
Yeah.
I finished the club at 3 o'clock, so I'm nicely buzzing along. And I come home and in my club on the stage was the onlyest, I promise you, the onlyest, sexiest pair of twins you had ever seen. Yeah. Black, But because, you know, there is a thing with twins, you know, they have got this little connection. If they're little sexy dancers as well, their dancing is, you know, how they can do the things together where they know who's going to be what. It was just absolutely spellbinding, right? And I said to her, look, on the first day I met her, I was like, I don't know if you're married. You can. I said, I want you. She went, but I won't tell you what he said about that. But I said, I want you. I said, no. I said, I want to keep you. I want you. I fell in love with it. Mills and Boone. I know that's really stupid. And
instantly,
on the spot, which was a very different thing for a London skinhead white to do
in those years.
In them years, to go, I'm now going out of a Blackbird.
Yeah.
That was quite pioneering at the time. Right, I'll promise you that. You know, I'm not trying to do it for a flag waving blood bouquet out my ass, but it weren't like that. You know what I mean? There was, you know, it was quite
and you
pioneering.
Didn't care.
No, well, I didn't give a monkey's. She turned into 51% of Dave Courtney. Went to prison for me. Was with me with all of my things. Would go guilty if it meant me not going. You know, she was. You know, her words to me was, "Listen, I know what you're doing. I'm plasticine for you. Build me into whatever you want. I'll be that." Right? Wow. And I built that. You know, that's my biggest and only regret in life.
How long were you with her for?
20 odd years.
Why did you split up?
I was a bit too handy with my hand one day and gave her a slap around the chops.
Okay.
Yeah.
That ended up.
Yeah, of course you did. Yeah, but like, my biggest and what's her name regret. We're still beautiful friends now. We've got babies together. I've got my own kids with her and all that, you know. But at the time, I made a mistake. Yeah. I pay for it every day.
Yeah.
Pay for it every day.
Do you wish you were still with her now?
Don't make me say that in the air. But of course, yeah, there is no chance. She's happy in her relationships. I'm as happy as I can be in mine. But I'll never get another one of them. You know the one that's the one, and that was the one. And I made myself fucked up, and that was my biggest regret. It made me brave. And because when I first met her, she was a ragger. That was a proper little, what's it name person. That kept my feet on the ground, because as long as I could come home every day and tell her what I'd done and not be embarrassed of it, that stopped me going over the top, because she would tell me exactly what's right and what's wrong. You done what?
She'd pipe you down.
Yeah. You know, she wouldn't let me be a bully. She wouldn't let me do that. She wouldn't let you wouldn't do it as long as I could keep and tell her what everything was about.
How did she? When did she go to Nick for you? Took her guilty.
I never got caught with anything in my house. She was mine. You know, and she was the onlyest person I'd ever met. You know, she liked ladies too. We was running swingers clubs. You know what I mean? Her rules were.
How old was she when you met her?
19.
And how old are you?
19. I was
roughly
29.
Okay.
And her rules were. Listen, stop it, because I was going to start crying. Her rules were this: you can fuck anything you want. Just have a nice week if you want, but bring it home and we'll both do it. Right? I'm happy with that. Right? I'm happy with that. But don't ever let me find out, I love you because of your brain, that I've offered you 2 for nothing, that you sneaked off on your own, went to an hotel, bought a Graham Charlie, bottle of champagne and made me a laughing stock in front of some fucking dopey bird on your own, when you could have come home and done it for fuck all. Don't ever let me find that one out. Yeah? What did silly bollocks do?
Yeah.
Of course, I fucked that up and all, didn't I? You understand me? Of course I did.
What was going through your mind? Thinking, hold on,
I had 20 odd years of that. I built a nightclub in my back garden. I had handfuls of money. We was running around the world. We was touring America on tour. We was doing Europe. I was living in Tenerife after time.
Just living the life.
Yeah, it was mental. She was a role. You know, it was mental.
It didn't bother you. You actually think, hold on a minute, I've got a missus who's giving me everything laid on a plate. I'm going to go and fucking ruin it now.
Yeah, cool. And I've just ruined that whole interview by whatever you put on me beforehand. I've made myself look dickhead.
No, not at all. This is honest.
I'm being honest.
This is honest, Dave. This is proper honest, mate.
That's my only and biggest regret. Yeah.
Where is she now? She's still in London?
Yeah, she lives 10 minutes with me. I see her once a week. She can call on me whenever she wants. I still see the baby we got a couple of times a week.
How old's the kids?
She's 24 now.
Yeah.
Courtney, her name is.
Is it Courtney?
Courtney de Courtney.
Is that Courtney de Courtney?
Listen, that was quite continental for Plumstead. That was actually
quality.
Continental, yeah.
So how did you get in then with Jenny? Because I've seen you and Jenny get on really, really well over the years. I think, God, they're a proper tight couple.
Yeah.
It's a shame, isn't it?
It is a shame.
Yeah, it is a shame.
Yeah.
What?
And she was with me through my hardest times,
Yeah.
getting shot, waiting for me in prison. Had I been found guilty of that £5 million of cocaine, I was getting 25 years.
Yeah.
So she's waited for me while I was in there for all them, for that one and for the other 5.5 years. She's waited, always been honest, always done the right thing. You understand what I mean? So 51% of me.
Here's a question. How did she find out?
Computers.
Okay.
Yeah, I was a bit dinosaur and living in a world where
you think you get away with it.
I think I'm getting away with it like I do, and I photos on phones and what else, I was just an idiot. I was just a dickhead, mate. I was just a dickhead, like a lot of blokes are, but hopefully they learn before they lose the lot. But I lost the biggest prize. Yeah, silly man. Yeah.
And do you think that cocaine and champagne mixed was a big instigator for you going off and doing all that?
It didn't help. You know what I mean? Being off your trolley and birds throwing themselves at you and having free, everyone wanted, I was getting paid 500 quid to go to a club, just to actually go in there and have a drink with a few of my pals. They was giving me a monkey. So it looked like it was theirs, or giving me hotel suites and giving me rental Rolls Royces or villas to go on holiday to, you know what I mean? I had Brad Pitt stay at my house when they filmed Snatch. Vinnie Jones played me in Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels. He actually played me, knowing my stories. It was my thing, Jay-Z, the cover of his first album, Blueprint, that's my photo. They took a picture of me doing a speech at the Oxford Union, and it was an aerial shot and he thought that was really funny. It was in a book called The Firm, which went big in America, and he thought that was really funny, a convicted felon becoming a don at the Oxford Union, teaching future Parliament how to behave. He thought that was really funny. So he done a replica of the same photograph and put himself there and called it Blueprint, a black guy instead of a white guy. And like denied it, paid the money for it to be done and denied it. But it's all coming out now, and Fat Man Scoop is now doing a documentary about that.
Yeah, Fat Man Scoop played at my festival, Bournemouth Sevens.
Good, isn't
Very
he?
good.
Ain't he
It's
good?
amazing. He had the crowd eating out of his hand.
A professional,
mate.
A professional entertainer.
Let's go back to that 95. When you got the deal to put on Ronnie Krays security for his funeral, how did that come about?
Well, it came about that I'd actually met Ronnie and Reggie Kray quite a lot then. I'd become their arms and legs while I was in prison. I didn't know them beforehand. I'm only 63, but I met them when I was in there and when they were in there. And I'd done a lot of things. I mean, in the world that I was in then, I didn't think it was going to go into the entertainment world, at all, or the celebrity world. I didn't realise that. I thought it was just a naughty boy world I was destined for, and I was doing very well at that. And being associated with the Kray twins was
massive.
An asset.
Yeah, absolutely.
An asset for me. And I was down visiting them all the time, and Charlie Kray come and stayed at my house, lived at my house for 6 months. I was actually a witness. I was a character reference in Charlie Kray's last court case, and the two identical twins that I was... Jennifer was what my wife was one of them. Done a record called They Took the Rap. It was a rapping record, and it was about the twins. And so I went up to meet them. We become good friends. I've done all sorts of things for them, as you can imagine. And when Ronnie died, the funeral parlour got threatening phone calls saying, not everyone's a Krays fan. We're going to set light to the gaff tonight. So they've got in touch with Reggie Kray at the prison and gone, what are we going to do about that? They've allowed him a phone call late at night, so he's rung me and went, Dave, I need some security to sleep in the funeral parlour at night. Well, to be perfectly honest with you, it was a lot easier for me to find 150, 60 blokes on the day to do the security than it was to find 4 blokes to sleep in there with me all night. It was scary. The ghosts are scary anyway with the ghost of Ronnie Kray. Well, man. But I was in there.
So you were at peak then. What age were you when you got asked to do this? With bring 150 men from all around the UK?
That's an overwhelming experience for me. I can't remember at what age I was then. Check the
late 20s, 30s?
30 odd,
Okay.
I was peaking at the time. I was in my peak. And I then called down a group of men that were 150 people, which I thought were the tastiest people I know. There were the Mr. Dave Courtney, there was the Mr. Manchester, Mr. Liverpool, Mr. Glasgow, Mr. Brighton, Mr. Newcastle, Mr. Gravesend. You know, everyone that came down had their own criminal CV.
Yeah.
Right, and because 750,000 people turned up at Ronnie Krays' funeral, they all dropped their guard for the day because a lot of these people didn't get on. They're all different firms from different parts of the country with different beliefs. And you know, the last time he shot him, last time he saw him, he shot his brother, and all sorts of things. But on that one day, because they was burying the monarch of the British underworld, it was a very scary time for the police. And because I'm a silly, mouthy bastard, that you know when they say you can cut your tongue out.
What, at a certain time?
I had meetings with me, Charlie Kray, so Paul Condon and all that, all in the room, talking about security. And I was saying we'd do this, we'd do that. And I went, look, I said, there's going to be that many people here. They're not policeman fans, you know, they're gangsters, would-be gangsters, have been gangsters, wanna-be gangsters, gangster fans, you know, they're not. And if the church only holds 250 people, do you know to let in and who not to? Do you know to let in and come in and kiss him on his body and not to in the funeral parlour? Do you know to come in and stand round the aisle at the funeral or wait outside the gate? If you don't know and you're saying no to the wrong people, it's going to kick off, mate. So I went, right, you can do all that. You can do all that.
Who are you saying this to? Reggie?
No, I'm saying to Condom.
Yeah, okay.
Right? So I'm saying all that. He said, but the one thing we have got, Mr. Courtney, that your little band of men haven't got, he said, not everyone is a Kray Twin fan, and there might be an assassination attempt. Right? They haven't been able to do it for the last 30 odd years because they've been locked up, but they're now going 20 miles or 15 mile an hour. He's hopping out the car at the funeral parlour, hopping out the car at the church, hopping out the car at the cemetery, and there might be an assassination attempt. And the one thing we've got that you haven't got, only because I was being cocky, he went, it's a firearms unit. And there I should have shut my mouth. But what I said was, the one thing you've got that we haven't got is a certificate. I said, well, we've got a fucking gun, you know. And I'm saying this to the chief of police, and from that second on, it went, shut that man down. There's no one in England's allowed to have his own private army, especially telling me that some of them are going to be armed. Right? You know, I want no more. They went to the nightclubs that I was working at within that very week. Didn't hide it at all. Went straight up to the manager and went, look, you got Courtney security working here. By next week, you won't have a licence for a fucking television. So get rid of it. They went to the magazines that I was working for, the TV stations that I was working for. I was getting all my books published by Virgin Books. I went to them and just shut me down. I paid very dearly for that comment. I didn't realise it at the time. I now know what it was, but it all started getting dark and changing for me. So I then thought, and after that funeral, the press grabbed hold of me and turned me into celebrity gangster. Well, that really weren't what I was saying I was. I actually wasn't that. The people I was working with and for, the Kray twins, they might have been celebrity gangsters. I'm actually just running doorman, mate. And once you're in charge, the things that they do, you get the blame and the credit for, because I'm in charge.
The leader.
Right? So it's Martha, you know, and it blew me into a little, I'm not saying I'm white, I ain't saying that at all. I've done my fair share of shooting people back too. But it blew me out of proportion on how naughty I was. You know, heir to the throne. And all of that bollocks. So I quickly, no one in the crime world, crime's only glamorous on the big screen and books, not in real life. It ends up shitty 9 times out of 10, prison sentence wrapped around you, or belly buttons you didn't want. You know, that's how it normally ends up. And so very quickly, now the world is all Dave Courtney'd up on heir to the throne, celebrity gangster. I quickly had to do something that was just as public to say I wasn't that. Hold on, so I wrote a book called Stop the Ride, I Want to Get Off. Which was funny. The answer, I hope it was funny. It was meant to be funny, and it was meant to be telling you, I ain't that. You know what I mean? I'm more into the giggle, and it was supposed to be, I like to be funny. But I was blown into that proportion, and once you become famous for being naughty, the less naughty you can actually be. Once everyone in the world knew what I looked like, I couldn't even get out of my car and go to the geezer behind, because every geezer in the world would go, Dave Courtney, I've seen him on the telly.
Yeah.
My job was debt collecting, kicking someone's door in, running into their house, running around the front room to make him pay his money back.
Yeah.
No, I can't do it because they all go, it's Dave Courtney. I'm fucked.
Yeah.
So the more famous I got for being naughty, the less naughty I actually could be. So I ended up half being a fake. By the time everyone in the world knows Dave Courtney Gangster, I am not a gangster.
Yeah.
So I then switched it around to the being on the films, doing the thing, so get a load of me, which didn't go down well with everyone because I was.
Did you enjoy that part?
Of course I did. Shut up.
Yeah,
of course.
right.
I'm a better entertainer than I ever was gangster.
Yeah.
But I'm afraid I've come from a world that were going to collar up, meeting down little alleys.
Yeah.
No pictures, no comment, no saying no. Yeah. And I'm going, da-dan, here I am, writing books about it, get a load of me, you know. And at the time, was a little bit hard for some of them to swallow.
Yeah.
Yeah, not the main players, so I didn't give a monkeys because all the others, I was dragging them up with me. I was getting Reggie Kray, his own column in the front magazine. I was getting Charlie Bronson, who I still speak to on a weekly basis, his own column in the magazines. I went to Brazil to see Ronnie Biggs on his 70th birthday with everyone that was left alive with a great train robbery. Hear me.
Quality.
Right? I was sitting on the beach with Ronnie Biggs and everyone left. It was a moment in my life, and I thank Nick Reynolds for that. He's a very talented man. That's Bruce Reynolds. It's Bruce Reynolds' son. The brains of the great train robbery. Bruce Reynolds. He has a very talented son called Nick Reynolds, an artist. Who done a big exhibition called From Cons to Icons. Luckily I was involved in that, where they done the Bust Your Head, and it was me, Ronnie Biggs, Frankie Fraser. I'm afraid we don't really see eye to eye. Yeah. But, you know.
Why don't you see eye to eye with Frankie Fraser?
When he jumped on the bandwagon when that couple was saying I might have been an informant, he just didn't particularly like me. He'd come from an era where there weren't a lot of black people around when he was running around, right? And me being married to a Jamaican weren't really sitting pretty with him, you know what I mean? Me being leery and cocky about my criminal past, that wasn't really sitting pretty with him. I wasn't really on the top of his Christmas card list, you know? And, you know, we just clashed.
Did you clash face to face, or was it?
No, we clashed. Yeah, we did clash on face to face. After we made a record called "A Product of the Environment." Me, Joey Powell, who was my mentor, Frankie Fraser, Freddie Foreman, Charlie Richardson, Roy Shaw. We all done an album with Tricky from Massive Attack called "Product of the Environment," and we all done our own little album. We talked, and they put the music around it and cut it in, and it was really good. And because they wanted to put me doing all the advertising for it, only because I was the younger face, you know what I mean? I was a little bit better at doing the chatting. I'm not saying I'm the best bare knuckle
good front man, though.
Right. And I was just crossing the bridge for them to get into the entertainment world. Now everyone's writing a book. Now everyone's doing the thing. I was just the first one, so I had to take the...
work it all out.
Yeah, I had to take the bullets from everyone that was going, who do you think he is? Cocky little bit. You know, I had to take that part. And he jumped on the thing of when they actually arrested me with a copper. I gave him my tape of what I said behind the door. Yeah. He had it, but chose not to. And he went, "Oh, I think he's a grass." Well, and then because I was used in the main advertisement for this album, the phone call from him was you and your little and all that. Well,
he said that.
Yeah, I couldn't have that one. So I went round to his house. I took his door off. And I went in there and I couldn't actually do an awful lot about it because he's 74 by then. Okay. Little skinny man. Yeah. I said I couldn't even hit him because he'd break. But Jesus, I was so... Everyone knew that we didn't really get on. And which nailed his coffin, really, because that night there was the opening to the exhibition From Cons to Icons. And at the actual event, there was Charlie Richardson, Roy Shaw, Tony Lambriano, Freddie Foreman, myself. And he went, "Well, I'm not going if Courtney's going." And they went, "Well, listen, if we've got to make a choice, don't go, Frank." Yeah. And I would have never had the arsehole or I had too much respect for Frankie and for all of them to go, well, it's him or me. You know what I mean? I knew I was a young kid on the block. They called me Pup.
Yeah.
I understood my position in that little world. Do you understand what I mean? But in reality, you're going to Charlie Kray, can you do this for it?
Yeah.
You ain't going to go, no, I don't do that no more because I'm 78.
Yeah.
He'll go, all right, I'll do that. And then he'd go, Dave. And then I'd have to get it done. And they'd go back to him and go, thanks.
Yeah.
So I was important to them.
Yeah.
Not that they weren't their thing in the day, but I was their thing for a little 10 stretch. I was doing it for them, you know what I mean? So they wrapped me up in cotton wool and looked after me. But he decided to go, well, I'll believe the copper. Even when I was found not guilty in the copper in the prison.
That must have hurt.
Of course it did.
Yeah, it must have hurt.
Of course it did. I got pictures of me and him up in me pool room. You know what I mean? Like, oh, wow, man, what you do that for?
Yeah.
He let his own person sitting there calling me missus names. And,
There's a difference calling you a name, I guess.
Oh, there's Ivy said to me all day long, every day, since the invention of the computer.
Yeah.
I don't do my own Facebooks and what's names. I haven't got a computer in my house. I'm too old. I'm a dinosaur. I don't want to really even learn something that I'm going to be the worst at it. So I have someone else do it. Yeah. I have, and I think it's took away the man in people. It's took away the testosterone out of people. You had a problem with me, my friend, and you would either come to my house and tell me, or be somewhere where you know, or let me know. Now you can just send me
warrior.
a thing going, I think you're a big fat grass have a Courtney, you wanker, and then send it to me, no name, no address, and it just comes up on the machine. Or I don't care whether you tick it and like the photograph. I don't care. I don't care if I'm blocking him. I don't care. Yeah, or I'm not in your top 10 best friend number. I don't care. You get what I mean? But that's so important to a new world that I do know that I'm the backward man going, I'm not into it all yet. But I'm too old in the tooth to try and learn it now. And I've got by without it, and I've got enough people around me that do know how to play the computer game, and I'm doing all right. But in reality, I really... And I've got people ringing me up telling me they're on the way to kill me, or, you...
How many death threats do you reckon you've had?
What, weekly?
Just in total, would you
I
say?
don't know, a couple of weeks.
A couple of weeks?
Yeah. Since the invention of the computer, a couple of weeks, you go and have a look, go and check up. I'm not lying about it. You can go and...
How does that make you feel when you see it?
I don't give a monkeys about that, because my front door is open. Open. It's not a lie. Anyone's been to my house.
Camelot Castle.
Camelot Castle. Right?
Some of that.
The nightclub is open at the bottom. Like, no one has ever knocked on my door and went, grass. Right? I've seen it on the computer. No one's ever come up to me in the street and went, I think you're grass. Right? And my answer to it, if it was, is told you one word. So the computer for me, although it be a fantastic thing to get known and do all of that, it was getting known that ruined my life, sort of, right? I had to grab hold of it and then try and steer it. When once I knew I had it, you can't start going, I don't want to be infamous anymore. Stop it, because that's ruining a lot of things. You can't do it. It's too late. You're there. So I had to grab it by the horns and take it in a way. They were going to be right about me whether I wanted it or not. So I led it.
How was that 8 months for you in year 2000? That 8 months?
Cried. Hurt me. Hurt my wife. Hurt my children. Altered my whole life up till today, and there's still people, if anyone don't like me for just being a cocky, mouthy little cheeky monkey, they can always throw in that does or would make me go, but the bottom line is, it went too cool. People sat in there all day long every day, and I got not guilty in the police and went to prison, and I've heard I'm a grass, but who? You can't say that who or what am I.
Does that still sit with you every day? Because I can sense in your emotion that still winds you up.
No, not with anyone I know, and that's why I don't like the computers. Because with anybody that I know, that don't sit with me. I've still got 500 people every week in my back garden dancing away, loving me to bits. I've still got however many millions of people on the computer that are pro things. So not in real life, but out of real life, this computer thing. There's a load of people that just want to go, anyone that's a Frankie Fraser fan thinks Dave Courtney's a grass. There ain't no... So, yes, it hurts. Yeah, sorry.
So you were building up 95, 96, 97, 98, got to 2000.
I was going for the world.
You were taking the world on.
I started getting into the filming. They used my stories for Lock, Stock. Vinnie Jones played Dave Courtney. And then they weren't, and then Guy Ritchie gave me a part in the film. I was playing Bricktop. But then halfway through, someone's got in touch with him and went, "You're not allowed to do that with Dave Courtney. We're trying to put him in prison and you're trying to put him on the big screen." So he had to come round my house and go, "Sorry." And he started his own film genre on meeting myself, you know. Black guys and white guys all in nice fancy suits that made crime palatable for the public by keeping it funny. Right, and his thing was on that. When they made Snatch, he then done the audition for Snatch in my back garden. Using all of my friends to play the parts. You know, it's all photographs. It's not a lie. It's not a fib. It was all done in a place called Caesars at Streatham.
I know Caesars as well. Yeah,
of course. And Brad Pitt spent the night.
I went to your premiere opening night in Caesars in Streatham because I was living in Brixton Hill. Yeah. Well, 2000, year 2000.
Give me your skin.
Year 2000.
Yeah, that was beautiful, wasn't it?
It was. Dave, tell me about why you went to court dressed as a jester, and when did you bang out that copper?
Well, I have to go back a little bit before I get to that, right? Because I was aware that they had the tapes when I got arrested that I wasn't an informant. And they knew right on the very first day I was arrested, I gave them the tapes, the video of what our relationship was. And by the way that they was writing about it and reporting it in the paper and making it look like I might be an informant, I understood very early on what they was actually trying to do for it. And I did say in my interview on tape that do not put me in the dock with this man or put me within arm's reach of him, because for saying what he's saying about me, if it be believed, I would be shot. So I will punch him in the fucking mouth if you put me anywhere near him. And they said, "It was your co-defendant." I said, "Right, but I want it written down and told that if you put me anywhere near him, I'll bang him." Well, they did believe that because it went to court 2 or 3 times before it was going to the Old Bailey, and they put him on in the morning with the other co-defendant and me on in the afternoon, right? Because they knew that I was actually going to bang him. And then they started going, "Well, everyone's calling you, you might be a grass. Do you want to leave the court with a back entrance with a bag over your head in case someone takes a shot at you?" And I thought, you're doing it on purpose to make me look bad, right? So I was so fuming with what they were doing, and I knew that he had to go guilty. I knew he had to go guilty because they had the tapes. And so I'm just sitting there, and so for the whole 8 months I was screwing with what they were doing, and it was making some people go, "Well, the jury's out on Courtney." You know, and I was like, wow, man. Wow. And when they said about me putting that bag over my head and going out the back door, I thought, right, I'll make such a statement of going in the front door. But I thought I'll go in there 40-handed, dressed as a court jester, and because I knew I weren't going to bump into him. But as I walked into the court, he had just got out of the dock and was walking past. And as he's walking past me, I am within punching distance. Please believe me, I'm a very calculated man in my head when it comes down to dishing out a bit of violence or risking getting in trouble. And as soon as he walked past me, I thought, I'm never going to get another chance of this. If I beat him up, I'll get in trouble. But one smack in the mouth, I can get away with because it's their fault. They should have kept him away from me like they know they are supposed to. They've kept him in separate court cases right up till now. And as we come level, I put one on his chops. A beautiful shot. Banged him out onto the floor, grabbed by the police and dragged off. My wife then came in and see me being dragged off and him on the floor. What was even more beautiful is as they come and picked him up, one got his arm, he's facing that way, and the other one got his arm and he's facing, and they lifted him up to put him on a chair facing the opposite way. And my missus come running up to him like that, and he can see her, and he's trying to get out of the way, and she's gone, the proper little combination, smacked him up. So by the time they sit him on the chair, all the damage done to him looks like I just done that with a whack. But they couldn't nick me for that because I have said, I'm going to do it. You have believed me and kept him separate from me so that is your security problem. And the day before it went to court, he went guilty. So and he was found guilty. So it was all lies that he said. But they did actually succeed in ruining the whole popularity thing on the Dave Courtney thing. The book's out, Celebrity Gangster, Heir to the Throne.
Was that all put to bed after that? Like, was that like the profile had gone down?
Slowly but surely, it hurt me. It did genuinely hurt me.
How do you think, Dave, your lifestyle has affected your family?
in some aspects, it's been beautiful, because the last thing any of them really wanted to be was naughty. I might look at an attractive way of life to everyone that lived across the road, but they've actually seen Daddy outside court waiting to get 20 years, sitting at the end of my bed with a bullet hole in me, police kicking the door down. You know, I've seen all that thing. So the last thing they wanted to be was a criminal. But my son, I'll come out in a minute. And I always said to her like this: if I look frightened, then the kids would see she'd be frightened, and if she was frightened, the kids would be frightened. And she went to me, you know, tell me, should I be frightened or should I not? I'll judge it from you. And we had a beautiful little life. Yeah, she was never frightened. I was always coming home. Don't worry about that, baby. And I did always come home. Right? And then it was all right. So we had a very tight, bonding, enviable family. Mm. Yeah, I'm very proud of it. I like to think I was a good dad. I might have been a shit husband sometimes, but I was a good dad. Mm. And I had 3 kids from a previous wife. Bo, Chelsea and Levi. Bo is now 40, Levi 30-something, and Chelsea, who now lives in Australia, 30-something. I've had Courtney with Jenny, and the little Lily, who's now 18, who's in the army, and Jensen, who was Jenny's child before I met her, and Drew. But I brought him up since he was 8 months old.
Jensen.
And I can't really put it down to me that turned him a bit naughty. I don't genuinely take any blame for that, right? I'm not trying to shirk the blame, but I don't put any blame onto me that how he went naughty. He was a very testosterone-filled man. He also had leader material, and he got into a little world of naughtiness and was murdered. He was shot 8 years ago, which was the final blow really for me and Jennifer. We were still living together at the time. And because me and him had a bit of an argument 2 weeks before, you know, which had resulted in me getting his car, both driving to the top of the road and went into the park to go and have a little straightener, however strange that may be.
How old was he at the time?
22, 23. Prize fighter, you know. He could punch the living granny out of his old dad, but, you know, got a bit verbal, and we went up to the top of the green. Yeah, I think it was a bit. I'm not saying that's a normal thing, but it was a quite normal thing for me and him. Not that we'd ever done that before, but it seemed normal at the time. Right, it was one way to sort out this big arguing, screaming, slanging match that we was having.
What were you arguing about?
I can't even remember it. I can't remember.
Was it a build-up of things, or was it just like a one-off?
No, it was a one-off thing. Right, I'm afraid I can't blame him for this. I don't want to go and make it sound anywhere. He was on the roids. Yeah, that gives you a little bit more of a short, aggressive temper than normally. Yeah, and it had gone past anything I could do or say to talk about it, and we was having a very public stand-up screaming match in front of people, and we ended up driving up to the top of the road. He bounced over a fence and was standing there like he's ready to have a fight with me, and I walked over to him and all and went, "Jensen, you actually look like you want to fight me." And I got one on the chin, which put me straight on the arse. Anyone who's been hit on the arse, nearly been knocked out, the thing to do is don't close your eyes, don't close your eyes, don't close your eyes. Yeah, keep your eyes open. Yeah. As soon as you close your eyes, you will knock out. Yeah. Just keep your eyes open and you'll get over that thing. Yeah. And where I couldn't actually spring up because I'm now a bit too old, I've actually gone like, you fucking cheeky little one. As I've had to slowly put my hands down and actually get up, I got another one. So I went, hold it. I said, we call that a draw. I said, we call that a draw. And he just went, and shut off. And we actually sort of made up the day after, but because of that, 2 weeks later, he was shot. And Trident and people were going, well, that must have been Dave, because, you know, I wouldn't allow someone to do that to me. and get away with it. You understand what I mean? And I was actually at home with my missus watching telly when it happened. And we got a phone call saying, oh, Jensen's been shot. And we quickly went, oh, well, where is he? What hospital is he in? Where? And they went, no, he's around his girlfriend's house and all that. So no one actually thought of it as anything, as a major, like, no one actually thought it was they weren't even in hospital, you know what I mean? He's around his girl. But he had actually been shot at point blank range in the head outside his girlfriend's house. And so my missus went to go down and see him. Jenny went down to go down and see him. She got there and then he'd been shot at point blank range and he died that night in the hospital. And that was the end of my life with Jenny, really. After that, she was never the same. I was never the same. Because we'd had an argument before, I'd come under some suspicion as it might have had something to do with me. That whatever pressure they was under is, do you think your husband done something? It was the worst time of my life. The most changing part of my life. It altered my whole life. 7 weeks after that, we split up. For a number of different reasons, it come down, but really it was down to that. You understand what I mean? Yeah, that was the catalyst of our separation, and it destroyed her, destroyed the other kids, destroyed me. It ain't something that ever gets better. Yeah, if I think about anything on a daily basis, it's that. Yeah, if I think about anything on a daily basis, it's that. Especially as the man who was eventually caught for it was Jenny's brother. It was his own uncle, and he got 31 years recommended for that.
His own uncle.
It was his own uncle, yeah. The whys and wherefores I'm not prepared to go in for, but that was it. But in the meantime, I had all the police around my house on a daily basis, thinking I was going to have some vigilante thing going on. There was people running around from all over the world offering to do that and that, and coming up with suspects and bringing them tied up to my house. There's all sorts of, as you can imagine, my world collapsed at the time, and so did hers. It was called Jensen because it's Jen's son. That was, it was her only boy, so it changed her. Yeah, you don't get better from that.
No.
Yeah.
What was that feeling like of being accused of something that you haven't done?
I've normally done it, even though I've been found not guilty for it. But something so big, something so life-changing, it's not even a crime. It's a, Jenny, please tell me what it feels like to lose your only son. Not alone who done it, how it happened and all that. What is it? There isn't the words for that. It just... And after that, I never wrote another book. I'd wrote 9 by then. And there was never, ever a time then for me to go, hi, hello, I'm back on the scene, I'm doing it. There was never, ever a time for me to be Dave, be funny. It altered my personality. It changed everything for 18 months, I think, or whatever it was. No one knew who it was.
So the whole 18 months, you're thinking, I haven't got anything to do with this, and then 18 months later, someone got accused.
Yeah, I think by the time they actually arrested David, it was quite obvious it weren't me. With the sort of evidence that they had, I think, he was on remand for a year. That must have been awful for the family. For whatever feelings I'm feeling myself, I cannot imagine what it was like for him, for her and her family. And she comes from a very big family. I think there's 16 brothers and sisters in her family.
Is that right? 16?
It's an army. It's not a football team. It's an army.
All over in here or in Jamaica?
No, here in Woodall, mate. In Woodall, one family in Woodall, yeah.
Wow.
And they're a Jamaican, and the mum's a big church lady.
Yeah.
Her dad is just the funniest, most happy, bubbly man in the world, and proper little family. I was honoured to be involved in them. It helped grow me.
How have you been since that incident then? Because
I've
you've
never
had
been
an
the same.
eventful life, right? And there's some big moments I'm going through here from in '95 to 2000 to 8 years ago, Richard. What's your life been like post this?
Since it's never been as. It's altered it. It's genuinely put a daily. Life is habitual. Yeah, life is habitual, and the habit of getting up with, wow, if you've had it for a couple of years, it's hard to swing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never wrote another book since. How do I write another book and do a
with happiness and excitement?
Like, you know, because my books are funny. They're not gangster. If you've ever spent any time reading it, I'm meant to make you laugh. I won't go and get a load of me. Ain't I bad? I really ain't doing that, mate. Yeah. And that just, I can't imagine what it's done to her to carry on living. I think if she hadn't had any other children, she wouldn't have wanted to live, to be quite honest. I mean, if she hadn't had other children, she wouldn't have wanted to live. So that, I can't imagine. So, but for me, it was a life-changing incident that on a daily basis is in my head,
What's your lifestyle like today? Because we're getting into your mid-50s here now, aren't we? So what, you're 63 now, minus 8 years, mid-50s. What's it been like from 55 onwards? Have you completely slowed down?
I have, yeah. That altered things for me. I have completely slowed down. But I'm afraid in reality, getting old does actually mellow you. I never ever thought I was going to be 64. I never planned for it. I never ever thought, I genuinely, I didn't know how, what was going to happen to me, I don't know. But I didn't ever think I was going to be here with arthritis, and I've had some open heart surgery and bit of cancer and all that, you know. I never thought of all that. I didn't make any plans for that or prepare for that or pensions. Or I never thought I was going to get here. My way of life was, at one time, when I was buying one of my houses, when I was buying a place, they went to go and insure my life. And because of my life, they put me in the same bracket as underwater pothole divers and astronauts. And me, that was my life insurance. Yeah. And I was going, fuck, man, what do you know that I don't know then? Because I'm just bobbing along nicely, going out partying, and I was in the same bracket as a fucking astronaut. You know, I drove past, I played with guns, I hung around with the wrong people, I took drugs, I drunk, everything that was wrong, I was doing it. You understand what I mean? So actually thinking of what are you going to be like next year is when I'm 65. I never genuinely thought that was going to happen. So right now, it's mostly hitting me, not hard, but I mean, what you hear it a million times. As soon as you get older, the years go quicker.
They say it's like a bog roll, isn't it? It goes through and it spins off.
At my age now, it just seems like the other day. You know.
Is that because it was such a fast-paced lifestyle?
I think so, yeah. And if you was a really stunning, beautiful bird at 18 to 35, 40, now you're 64, that's got to be worse than if you were just a normal, you understand what I mean? And my life was so full, I never even had enough time. That's why I'm glad I wrote a lot of books, to actually tell you what I'd done yesterday, because today was better. And I couldn't tell you what I'd done today, because the next day was even better. You understand what I mean? And that's truly how I lived. And I can honestly say I've been in more countries, had more parties, slept with freer women, you know, than anyone I actually fucking know. If I was to drop down dead today, I can't moan one bit. I'll bet you I'm smiling, even if I hear someone behind me go, I'll smile. Because I've lived more than full life, every single minute of every day. I even took things to stay awake. I didn't want to go to sleep in case I missed something. You understand what I mean?
Dave, tell me about Sicily.
Sicily. I'll give you a little rundown of this. It started when the Gambinos, when the elders, when their kids have their 6 weeks off of the summer holidays, they go travelling around Europe. So they come in, their kids are travelling around Europe, got a couple of big lumps with them. They get in touch with Freddie Foreman and a bloke called Wilf Pine, lived down here. They wanted to go to the Ministry of Sound. Well, they both, Wilf Pine and Fred Foreman, are they're quite old by then, so they've gone to me, can you get
Look
them
after
with
them.
Ministry of Sound? So I'm of course I will. The fact that they're asking me to do it, I'll do anything they want. They're still my heroes, right? So they've all come at my house. My house is quite an exciting house. It ain't a run-of-the-mill house. It's got all the bits and pieces. Nightclub at the bottom. They're having a right laugh. I'm surrounded by women. We don't pay to go in. Yeah. We can get in the DJ box. They didn't want to go back to the hotel. They stayed the night at my house. So they've gone home with forget the Kray tunes. Dave Courtney. So that happened, right? Then I had done the geezer in the court jester's outfit, and that happened. And then they've rung me up. They've rung Virgin from Sicily to do. I now do audience whips all around the world, stand up talking about like I'm doing now. Yeah. Right? And it was for 25 people. This is the fucking Mafia now. You only see them on telly, didn't you? Being honest, you only see them on telly, right? But it's in Sicily, in Palermo. It's there's 25 of these geezers and 5 interpreters. One of them, which I didn't actually know at the time, was the Italian Prime Minister, old Berlusconi, him who ended up being the Prime Minister. Now they've all heard the Gambino side of the Dave Courtney thing. They've just seen me do that on television, and they've done a documentary and put it on television. I'm now in the book called The Firm. Jay-Z's putting my pictures on his album, and they've called me over there and they went, listen, because they talk in pidgin English, for me, that was the sexiest voice you could ever have. They're going, tell me about the day you punched a policeman in the face, dressed as a dressed as a clown, and I say, fuck you to the press. Tell me about that day. And that's how he was talking, right? Which I just thought, wow. And he was saying, right, well, there's an unwritten rule book. There's an unwritten rule book worldwide about how you behave when you go to court. Rule number 1 is you don't bring all your friends. Yeah. All right? Rule number 2 is you wear a nice suit and it's yes sir, no sir, and polite as you like. And a letter from someone that's known you 20 years saying you're a nice bloke. Yeah. That's how you go to court, everyone, right? He said, apart from the Cosa Nostra, because they already know I'm John Gotti, so it's not worth me trying to turn up as a nice bloke or whoever he is. You know what I mean? I just threw that name out there. It's not worth them trying to go up there and, look, I'm a nice geezer, I'm not. So they turn up to court, gangster. Yeah? And he said, I've never seen anyone do that before. Apart from you, you broke all the rules. You turned up with 40 of your mates, all in black suits. You go to court dressed as a clown, punched a copper in the mouth before you're sentenced. He went, tell me what was in your head that day. He went, don't talk to me gangster. I know 1 million gangster. I know 1 million bank robbers. I know 1 million murderer. Right? But I know no man who got a court and a punch a policeman in the face. Right? So then that happened. So now that geezer there, the Berlusconi, becomes Prime Minister years after that. And I tell you, in Italy, the crime section in the bookshop is the smallest section in any country, right? Because they've got the fucking Mafia there. Yeah. They're not interested in the Great Train Robbery, the Kray Twin, Yardy, Triad, IRA. Yeah, they've got the Mafia on every corner, right? So they're not interested. So because of that, Berlusconi had spoke to us and we thought it was funny. They print my book in Italian, in Sicilian.
They do.
So that's a proper little buzz for me. That's a personal little buzz for me. So now all of that's happening, and now Jay-Z's put me on the cover of his album. We're actually doing a tour in America. I'm going around doing talks in Vegas and all that. So while we're in, we go to Manhattan, and I get picked up by the Gambino family. I don't know they're coming to the airport. Hear me with this. So I've landed with Brendan, a couple of big lumps to come with me. And as we get there, they look like gangsters. They look like it. They really look like what they are, you know. Excuse me, we got to separate you from your company, Mr. Courtney, and take you with us to meet some people. Now, to be perfectly honest with you, I was up for going, help me, in case they do something to me. Yeah. You know, like, I wanted some, I was up for that. Brendan, the geezer I live with, went, okay, Dave, off you go, you're on your own. You guys. He's the biggest coward. I've got to go. Let me get back to that in a minute. The biggest coward you've ever met in your life. I live with him because he makes me laugh. He keeps me laughing all day, and that's all I need, and I'm all right. But a coward he is. And he's gone, oh, you're on your own. So they take me for a ride, and I'm going all around America, all around Manhattan, meeting all these Italian people. I couldn't understand a word they were saying. All smelling of tomatoes in restaurants and
tomatoes in restaurants.
Yeah, mwah, and all this. But they're kids. Their kids have gone home and talked about me, and Berlusconi has gone home and talked about me, and I've gone out to Sicily and I said, I don't know what's happening to me in their eyes. You understand what I mean? It's all new to me. So they show me pictures of people I don't know, and I know. So when they dropped us back to the hotel, it was St. Patrick's Day out there. That's it, right? It was St. Patrick's Day, which is a big thing in New York. St. Patrick's Day, huge. So they went, are you going out? I went, yeah, we're going to Jay-Z's club, right? He's got all my pictures up in the club and all that. So we're going to Jay-Z's club. He said, well, if you want, we'll leave the car here. We'll take you there in a limo. Fantastic, cool. So it runs upstairs, we're all getting dressed, the four of us, we're in the car. So we go down to Jay-Z's out. I think it's called 2020 or 4040 or something like that it's called. Massive big queues going up that way, upstairs to the VIP one. Massive great big queue going up that one for the normal people. And I don't know how these people get born, but the doormen out there are bigger than you've ever seen a real human being in your life. You've never seen them like 7'4", 36 stone with a gun. Really? 5 of them, you know what I mean? Like, really and truly, how would you reach that to it? Just absolutely unbelievable. And then they pulled right up outside. The driver gets out, runs up and says something to one of them, goes like that to us. So he all comes up the stairs to walk in and that, and as we're walking in, we're going up, walk straight in, all going like that. So we've actually got in, he goes, I'll leave you here. He said, it's a bit young for me, Okay, man, and all that. Beautiful, thank you very much, Mr. Courtney, and left. And as we're walking through, one of the doormen says to the head doorman, and I can hear it, I nearly come when I heard him say it. He goes, who the fuck's that? I don't know. He said, but if he's got the Campinos dropping him off as a fucking cab, I'm letting him in. Right? Wow. And that's all growing for me. And I'm the bloke that Jay-Z put on the cover of his album. And it just... I never meant that. That was dropping on my lap. I never plotted or planned that thing. You know what I mean? But it all worked out that way. Yeah. Anyway, you weren't in. Lucky for Jay.
Tell the listeners about Camelot Castle, your house.
Camelot Castle. It used to be a school. Right?
When did you buy it?
30 years ago. And it had been burnt out for about 10 years. So I had a blank canvas. My narcotic of choice, I'm afraid, used to be at the time a bit of whiz. I love a bit of whiz. I'm an old fella, I know it's a poor man, but I love a bit of whiz. And I built that house on whiz. And when the doorman used to finish at 2 or 3 o'clock, because I was employing hundreds and hundreds of doormen, they all come back to my house and started up all the cement mixes and everything. And at 3 or 4 o'clock, everyone took their dinner suits off because it was all bow ties and shit then. And built this house, and I built a castle. I put the outside walls on it, the turrets, the little castlette bits around the outside. I've got in it. I'm a kleptomaniac. I love all the old suits of armour, swords, shields,
guns on the wall,
wall, German helmets. I love all that shit. Yeah. We've got a pool room. It's got 6 bedrooms. It's quite big. And then I bought the end of next door's garden, and the end of the other side, the end of their garden as well, and built a nightclub. And it's got a 3-story 50 Shades of Grey dungeon that actually is a working dungeon. It's hired out every single day. That works. So I've got pom-pom running down the bottom of my garden all day long. The Babe Station girls use it. I've got a couple of caravans in the garden where there's some working ladies living that use the actual dungeon. It's their workplace, you understand what I mean? And I have a nightclub, a 450-man nightclub at the bottom of my garden. It's turned me into a bloody hermit. I don't even want to go out, right? I'll get daily at least 4 or 5 places I could go in the night time if I want. I don't have to spend £1 to come along, pick me up, drop me off, get me laid, get me pissed, get me stuff if I want. But what I want to leave home for, almost. Yeah.
What do the neighbours think?
Oh, they all sort of work for me, most of them. Like doormen, cleaners, barmen, taxi drivers. They're all
sweet.
Work for me. And by living next door to Dave Courtney might be a bit, ooh, if you actually didn't know I was.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is, I'm all right, mate.
Nice fella,
yeah. And if any of the people in my road,
Yeah.
right, and there's an awful lot of people listening to your show where I live too, right, in my road want to use my nightclub for their kid's birthday party, for their wedding thing, it's empty.
Yeah.
It's not being used. Have it. It costs you nothing. Yeah, it's empty. People don't pay to come in there anyway.
Yeah.
It's you know.
Do you feel like you're bringing the community together?
Oh, listen, I have. When I first moved in there, I knocked 25 grand off the price of their houses because they couldn't sell their houses because they couldn't use living room. But now I'm in there, they show off about it. It's the quietest, most sought after road in Plumstead, which ain't the most glamorous area in the world. But there's never been a burglary, a car theft, a mugging, a rape or anything in my road. So now the old estate agents show off, and you got Dave Courtney living in your road. So it's, you know.
Are they doing? I've heard rumours they're doing a movie on you.
They're doing a 3 1-hour part documentary, but done by with all Big Nasty's production company. They're doing it, and they've interviewed old school teachers of mine, prison officers that used to lock me up, best friends, ex-wives, neighbours, Fatman Scoop, Big Nasty, Jody Mark, you know, an awful lot of everyone that I know, all, a load of doormen, a load of everyone. So it should be really, really cool, you know, and it's better than a film. It's 3 hours long and it's going on Amazon Prime. You know, they've done most of the filming now. I think they've got one more day they get through about 6 interviews a day. Yeah, it's about an hour long each interview. They might only use 5 minutes of that, as you know. But
Dave, there's got to be a Netflix movie coming out about this.
Oh, I hope so, but I'm still alive. That's the problem here.
Yeah.
They can't do movies and glamorise crime. There's now actually a law.
Is that until you're dead, they'll see it?
Then they can do it.
Right, okay.
But you cannot glamorise crime. There's a law now. Yeah. You know, like book critics, like Gary Bushell said, well, don't give me your book to critic because I'm not allowed to say by law that it's a good book.
Is there any advice you'd give, Dave, to the young 20-year-olds in the gangland warfare on the postal code around London?
Well, man, I know I should be the one to say about this, right? But what all I can say is it's the wrong era to be involved in any kind of that crime, whether it be postcode or drug dealing, whatever. It's the wrong era. You are not pitching your wits against a Sherlock Holmes policeman no more. Yeah. You are trying to beat technology. Yeah. And you can't do that, right? If they want to catch you, they will go and get a 36-month warrant on you that they can listen to your phone, your house, your car, your neighbours, your mum. Yeah. And if you listen to Mother Teresa's phone for 3 years, you'll find something to bang. It's the wrong era. So I'm not saying what to do instead of, right? I was in a completely different era. You can't do what I've done now, not because you're not as good as me, but they are too clever.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, when I was a thief, they used to chase me down the road with a whistle. Yeah, now, you know, you've got it's all cameraed up and all that. So I don't know what advice to give you to get out of it if you're already in it. Peer pressure is a very big thing. Yeah. There is an awful lot of violence that has gone up a grade since I was active. You know, there's an awful lot of...
what violence have you seen gone up a grade in this sort of era?
Well, I'm just saying in general, because of the influx of the different nationalities that are here now, their violence level is an awful lot higher than the average English person, And life is not the same value in England as it is in Albania, Kingston, Jamaica, Kosovo. You know, it's not of the same value, and their violence level is higher. So what they're prepared to do in a normal everyday confrontation in the street, the normal Englishman wouldn't normally do. Yeah. Because they are the minority, they've learned to all stick together, which is something else English people don't do. Yeah. And there's an awful lot of different minorities out there. The Krays was quite big in the East End of London because everyone in the East End of London spoke and understood English. Yeah. Right now they couldn't never be that again because there's half the people there couldn't say the name Kratwi. Yeah. right? Wouldn't listen to them. The Russians wouldn't, the Albanians wouldn't, the Polish wouldn't, the Northerners wouldn't, the Pakistanis wouldn't, the Jamaicans wouldn't. You understand what I mean? So it's a completely different era. So the violence level is up in a scale where if you even want to go and play out, some people are going, I want to carry a jiv because everyone else is carrying a jiv. And if you want to choose a weapon to go out and play, I'm going to get chastised for this now because I'm not allowed to say this really. You have to choose the weapon that you're prepared to do the bird for, right? What I mean by that is I carry with me 24 hours a day a knuckle duster. I'm sorry about that. It's against the law. I could go to prison for it. But there is a lot of people out there that don't really fancy Dave Courtney, and I might have to just go boom, boom, boom. And if I have to use a weapon, I'll use a knuckle duster because that ain't going to kill anyone. If you choose to carry a knife, you risk getting life imprisonment every time you have a fight. Yeah. You go, right? Yeah. If someone banged into the back of your car, he jumped out of the car, opened your door, started punching you in the mouth. If you had it in your pocket, you would go and get 25 years. If you trod on your toe while you was in Sainsbury's and you just had a corn operation and started hitting you, you would get it out and go and get 25 years because you trod on your toe. So don't carry the thing.
What's a duster, 2 years? 18
months? Yeah. Well, that's if you use it and you break your jaw. Yeah. Right? And I don't mind getting that if I can handle that. Right? But I'm not risking carrying something that could kill someone every time I pull it out. What are you, what do you need to try and convince you that is a wrong move? But after saying that, if everyone else out there that has come from a different country than you is carrying something like that, it's no good having your morals and then you're the one that gets stabbed. You might feel the need to carry it. I don't know. I'm not a youth out on the road today. Yeah, I'm an older man with different morals, and the only thing I could say is pick and choose what you're carrying around with you. If you're going to be hanging around in them groups of people where violence is an everyday occurrence for you, pick and choose what you carry. You know what I mean? Even if you are going to carry a knife, carry a little one then, but for fuck's sake, yeah. Do you understand? I mean, I really haven't got any good advice to say to someone, and I would love to spew that out for you. Yeah, I'd love to. Right? Personally, I believe the problem started in this country, although it sounds stupid, when they banned the cane. Right? Hear me with this. Let me get this story out. When they banned the cane.
When did they ban the cane?
Oh, when I think they banned the cane in.
Who would use the cane?
84. 84. Well done, Brent. How do you know that? You still like the cane. You pay £80 an hour to get cane. I know you do.
Who would use the cane?
Well, the teacher would use the cane, wouldn't it, right? That's where you spend most of your influential life in school.
So that's where you get disciplined.
And get disciplined. Yeah. And if you was going to get the threat of you being naughty and someone smacked you across the arse with a big lump of wood at the end of the day, that stopped a boy being naughty. Yeah. A detention don't. So someone went, you're not allowed to get a smack at school now if you do anything wrong. Touch. Yeah. Then some clever bastard went and said, and you're now not allowed to actually get a smack off your mum and dad at home. Right? And what we're going to do is we're going to teach a child a telephone number that if your mum and dad go to smack you, if you go ring 449-232-777, right, we'll put them in prison and you'll never get smacked again. Right? Now you've had no discipline in your school life, you've got no discipline in your home life, and you get to 16 and start being allowed to go and play out on your own, right? And they're going, well, where's the country gone wrong? Yeah. It's too late. Yeah. It's too late to try and teach someone discipline and what's right and wrong, and this is the punishment at 16. They're men, they're little men. I'm not that men's anything. I'm just saying that's my own personal thing of where it went wrong. You have to have discipline.
What's the future hold for Dave Courtney now? You're 63, 64 years old.
I'm going to be a sex symbol. I really.
Are you enjoying life?
I'm very much enjoying life. Yeah, very much. Because I'm now thinking I'm actually not living on borrowed time. But I never thought I'd be here. So every single day at the moment is fantastic for me. You understand what I mean? I'm like time I never thought I'd actually have. It's like having an extra 20 minutes each way that I didn't think I was going to have. You know what I mean? Getting to be here was quite naughty and quite exciting.
Do you feel that you're lucky to be here?
Yeah, Jesus am I. Jesus, I've known the people that are a lot better and gooder men than me that are not.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I don't know whether I'm going to go up or down when I go, right? You understand what I mean? Like, an awful lot of things that Dave Courtney has been involved in or done might put me, tip the scales to go under there, but there's a lot of good men that are not here, that I am, and I feel very lucky. And it's very easy being Dave Courtney now. It weren't easy getting here, but now it's very easy. I'm getting laid by people that look like they just walked out of a magazine, you know what I mean? I know it's because I ain't looking like no Chippendale, it's because of the Dave Courtney thing.
Yeah.
I've got a nightclub at the bottom of my garden. Some people have got gnomes at the bottom of their garden.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm enjoying every single bit, I'm intending to write a book. There's another book being sorted out for me at the moment by a man called Tony Sales, who owns Crooks, which is Underworld TV, a television company. So I'm getting back into the swing of things. I think that's going to come on the back end of the documentary that's coming out. So I'm going to have another little revamp of get a load of me before I actually peter out. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to what's coming up for me. To actually tell you in what direction I'm going to go, I don't know. You know, you sort of, with that entertainment world, you sort of throw the dice and see what you get out of it after you've wrote the book and had the documentary out of it. You see what avenues come out of that.
What opportunities there are.
Yeah. So I intend to keep going. Don't worry about that.
Dave, you said you got caught out by Jenny. What was the worst moment you got caught out?
I can tell you that straight off. I don't even have to think about it. Once again, I'm going to have to go back a bit. I was doing security for a load of women that had gone out there for a month to America, to Chatsworth, and they were making blue films, and I was looking after them. They was living in a big Winnebago. They was hiring out villas that were gated and walled up. So it was the premises of where they were making the films, and they was going all around America. And I was looking after a load of porn stars. And there was a man out there called Guy who owned Sin City at the time, and I got on friendly with him. And the porn world's a really funny old world, just really funny. I was going like, wow, man, you know, I'd love to make a blue. He said, do you want to make a blue film, man? He went, it's the easiest fucking thing in the world. He said, go over there, get an AIDS test. He said, 45 minutes, you come back here, you'll be shagging whatever bird you want in the next hour and a half. I'm like, wow, I'm in America. I went, oh no, I couldn't do it because I had Dave Courtney and all that. Everyone would know. He went, I'll make you a guarantee. He goes, I'll guarantee you that the film will never leave America because it's going to be into a hotel porn channel. And that's got no, you can't video record it, you can't take it up. It's just down the porn channel and hotel. And if no one goes in a hotel, you know, and they'd never leave this country, I went, fucking hell. So I went over there, I had an AIDS test, and I come back and it's like a catalogue. You know, the catalogue, you used to buy things off the catalogue. Yeah. With all these different birds you got, like, I can have her, you can have her, you can have her and her, you can do her and her, and she do her. And I'm like, fucking kidding us. Well, I couldn't fucking believe it. I'm fucking, you know, I couldn't believe when I was out there. I was with Jenny for 16, 18 years before I actually got married. Right. So anyway, I've done this, made this blue film, and no one was ever going to know it was going to be in an American hotel that could never come off the actual thing, right? Well, I don't know that what he's saying is it's going in an hotel group. It's going in the Great Westerner Hotel, which is every fucking hotel in America. Well, I just was somehow, I didn't know that. Anyway, so 4 or 5 years later, we go out there as a witness for Joey Pyle, who is my mentor. He built Dave Courtney. You know, he was my naughty man mentor, and grew me up. And you know, and he was my Freddie Foreman, Ronnie Reddy. He was my. Anyway, so he's got married, and he's got married in the Treasure Island Hotel. Now, this is no silly Las Vegas, Elvis kind of cheap, silly wedding. Inside the Treasure Island Hotel, there's a fucking cathedral. Yeah. Right, it's a cathedral. It's gold, inlaid, red. It's absolutely mental. It's only $3,000. And, there's a bit before that, isn't there? And just before we went down to Vegas, right? We popped in to see this other fella, this guy, and he gave us two 500-pound chips. He goes, if you're going to Vegas to get married, we went over and saw this guy with a porn thing, and I'm with Jenny, right? So no one's told her nothing about this. This is 5 years before. We go there to this wedding, we both got a 500-pound chip. I spunk mine and it's gone. So I'm sitting there with her. He gets married this day. It's a really beautiful day. And she went, how much? He said, it's only $3,000 to get married. It's only $3,000, 25 minutes. You know, look, but it's the most beautiful church I've ever seen. So he didn't go. So I said, oh, if I'd known, I'd have done that and married her. So, all right, just saying it.
Yeah.
Right? Not that I didn't want to marry her. Right? Not that I didn't want to marry her. But then he goes downstairs, sticks his chip on a thing, wins $3,500. Right? Comes upstairs, knocks on the bedroom door. She opens the door and I'm standing behind her. He went, you still want to get married? And I went, yeah, of course I get married. He went, here's the money, get married tomorrow. You can get the wedding license in the hotel. Yeah. Right? They actually do drive-through divorces in America. How fucking weird is that? How mental is that? They go, right? And the cab drivers go, it's the best job to get because there's one cab there, two cabs home. Yeah. So we then that's just the story. So we end up getting married the next day, right? All the thing and all that. Blah, blah, blah. They changed our suite to the honeymoon suite, which is a massive, big, round, vibrating bed. He's in the room next door to me. It's just fantastic. So she's lying on the bed, nothing on. I've been married 6 hours. 6 hours, right? She's put on the porn channel, okay? And I'm sure you can laugh. You know I'm going to say she's put on the porn channel. And all of a sudden it went, Deep Courtney, English Gangster. And I'm trying to dive onto the bed to grab the telecontrol, but the bed's too big. And it's a water bed and it's vibrating. And I couldn't get the telecontrol quick enough before she's turning it up. Right, and there it is, me, in a blue film, on my wedding night, in the hotel on my fucking wedding night. Right, if there is a God, I'll be oh, Jesus Christ, man. So that was the worst time I ever got caught. So as you can imagine, you know, visually it was the most beautiful wedding in the world. Yeah. The night time weren't the most horny in the world.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And I got caught like that.
Oh my God.
Right. She'd kill me for telling you, but she can't deny it. She can't deny it. I'm sorry, babe. I'm sorry.
Dave, I've thoroughly enjoyed this conversation.
Thank you very much.
This is a real honest chat.
Yeah, you got me there.
Yeah.
You've got me on.
A real honest chat.
And I'm afraid there's a lot of things that I've said in this chat that I have said on other things, but to the same question, there's only the same answer. So I have give you...
That's your story.
Right, yeah,
it's
but
your story.
I'll say this on live. I've been deeper and honest with you more than I have anyone else.
Very kind, mate.
Right? And you can go and hear that on any other document or any other recording I've done. You've pinged a few heart things there for me.
Yeah. Dave, just before we finish up here.
You want to kiss me?
I'll kiss you later.
These are brand new teeth, by the way. $9,000 worth.
Turkey teeth. Just before we finish up, Dave, have you got any last words to say to Jenny?
Apart from I will always love you, which she does already know. I don't know what strength that you need to get through what you're having to get through every day, my baby. I love you very much. And I'm sorry about the pain you're having. And each day's a battle, but you're doing superb. You're actually looking the nuts. Right? And I love you a lot. Done.
We'll end it here there, Dave. I thoroughly enjoyed this, mate.
Proper
good chat. Thanks for coming on, mate.
Yeah.
Good man.
Thank you very much.